Evening, guys. Welcome to another live stream. Now, I'm very pleased to announce that I've got a very special guest on with me tonight. Now, as you know, I normally do all my live streams on a Thursday, but unfortunately, my guest couldn't make it on a Thursday, so he's asked like any other night. So I said, yeah, that's fine. So I'll just get him in for you. And it is Leo from the Geek Legion of Doom. You okay, Leo?
How you doing? Very well. Yourself?
Yeah, not too bad. Thanks, Leo. Thanks very much for coming on. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you for inviting me, and thanks for accommodating me on a different night. I have to work late on Thursday, so
I quite understand. Yeah. Oh, yeah. I really appreciate it. It's always nice to have a special guest on. Yeah. All right then. Oh, yeah, no problem, Leo. Yeah. All right, then. So before we get underway with the live stream, guys, I'd just like to ask Leo if we just briefly talk about his channel, and go fire away then, Leo, just to tell everybody about your channel and that. Great channel, by the way. Yeah.
So Geek Legion of Doom is my channel, and I've been doing it for about 10 years now. And if you like horror, then you're more than welcome to visit my channel if you haven't already seen it. We tend to cover less mainstream, I would say, kind of more kind of B movies. I've always been a fan of kind of like, straight to video, straight to DVD, B movies and things like that. Do a bit of mainstream as well. It isn't just horror, but it is, I suppose it's mainly horror because that's kind of, there's so many of them out there. So, but I get a few get a few other individuals come in and kind of review here and there as well. So it isn't just my face. You get couple of other people as well, but it's good fun, and I've obviously got to know Alan a bit from conversations on the comments and everything. So all good fun.
Yeah, and a very good channel it is too, if I may say so. I like the way you review some of these movies I've never heard of, really rare movies and that. So I think to myself, like when any particular movie, what you describe takes me fancy, I say to myself, I've got to get that, So yeah, it's a great channel. Okay, then guys, so what I'll do, I'll leave a link down below the video if you want to go along and subscribe to Leo's channel. I'd say it's a great channel, so I'm sure you'll enjoy. So I say I'll leave a link down below. Yeah. All right then. So we're going to get to the comments now. So we'll just see what we've got in the room at the moment. Right, they're just loading up.
Hello, everyone.
Right, so here we go. Okay, so the first one is, hang on, it just takes a bit of time to load up. Am I dead? Yes. I'm confused. Is it today or tomorrow? It says the 27th on the video thumbnail, but the 226 on the video information. Oh yeah, just a little error there. Yeah, as you can see, we're live now, so it's today. Yeah. Sorry about that.
26th. That's a
that's it. Yeah, it's the 27th. Yeah, so right, Fazbear Brothers 2. Hi, Alan. All hope you're doing well. I'm fine, thanks. Hope you are too. Jeff's here. Jeff Joffe, evening. You okay, Jeff? Thanks for turning up. Always good to see you. Am I dead yet? Hey, Alan, everyone. You okay? Thanks for stopping by. Jeff again. Hi, Alan. Leo.
Nice to meet you.
Yeah. Gina's here. Hi, Alan, Leo, and everyone. You okay, Gina? Thanks for turning up. Always nice to see you. Brian Gilson's here. Hi, Alan, Leo. You okay, Brian? Thanks for stopping by. Screen Stars. Good evening, gents. Evening.
Hi, Aaron.
Jeff, what's Leo's views on the much delayed Salem's loss? Good question.
I'm looking forward to it. I do actually quite enjoy Salem's live. I've seen the original and the Rob Lowe remake. So I'm not one of these people who is massively against remakes, because I always think you've got the original. If the remake isn't any good, you've still got the kind of the original. So, and I actually like it if they, if a remake kind of adds a little, something extra to it as well. So I'm actually looking forward to it, and I think the story is good, and I'm going to say I've actually enjoyed both versions of it. Yeah. And funny enough, I don't know if you've seen this, Alan, but I was watching this TV show called From, and it's really reminds me of Salem's Lot. Now I've only seen 5 episodes, so
Yeah.
seen it, no spoilers.
Right. Okay.
It doesn't. I think the problem with this show is it's got a really generic name because it's kind of why I watch it. It's on its 2nd season now.
Right.
But I've started watching it. My brother was like, "I should watch From. It's really good," and I watched it, and it really reminds me of Salem's Lot. So if you're a Salem's Lot fan, I might end up being like that, but because I'm only episodes in, but it's worth a watch, and it's pretty brutal for a TV show. It's fairly, it's got swearing, it's got gore.
Yeah.
It's worth a watch. But yeah, I think the downside is because it's just called From, literally, ROM. It's such a generic title.
It is.
TV
Yeah,
show.
it is.
It's just kind of it just doesn't tell you anything about it. But I would recommend it. It's kind of like a Lost meets Salem's Lot. But yeah, I'm looking forward to it once.
I'll check that out. Yeah, thanks for that. So, I love the original Salem's Lot from 1979. With David Soul and James Mason. I love that, and I also like the novel as well by Stephen King. But the remake, wasn't a big fan of the remake, but I'll certainly give this new one, a check out.
Yeah.
So
the remake is TV. It's made for TV, wasn't it? So it's never going to be. I mean, I suppose the original was as well, but it was just like I don't know, it's a bit more sanitized. But I mean, it's great looking vampire.
Oh
great looking vampire. And I like the escalation of that story where it just it really has this sense of kind of dread and the sort of the impending doom of that story.
Oh, definitely, the Marston house and all that, and the vampire in that movie was totally different to the vampire that was in the novel, because in the novel he's more like Dracula, he's more like human looking, but in the 17, I don't need to say the way he looked more like Nosferatu.
Definitely inspired by that, which is good because I think it gives that little bit of variety and it makes him seem that much more sort of unearthly. I think one of the sort of, I was thinking about it before the stream, like what kind of like what horror films did I like growing up? And probably most people it was like Universal monsters and things like that.
God,
but I like the creature from the Black Lagoon the best because it was kind of the most monstrous, the most non-human looking. But I was scared of the original Dracula, I must admit. But I was a kid. But I like the kind of the more beast, the kind of the more non-human looking things the most. It was something you saw less. So it's one of the things I do enjoy is a kind of a definitely scary, a decent looking vampire, and for the time I think the original's makeup is fantastic, holds up today.
Oh yeah, definitely, Oh, I'm a huge fan, as you know. I'm a huge fan of the Universal monsters, and I do like the creature from the Black Lagoon. And you're right when you say about that monstrous aspect. That they did a great job with that makeup, didn't he? Really made him really monstrous. That
holds up today still. Even that you would have put that in a movie, which you could make that look, like a passable special effect from today's normal bat and eyelid.
Oh, definitely, And he did 2 sequels as well, didn't he? I haven't watched the 2 sequels for ages. The original, I've watched quite a few times, but I'll have to watch the 2 sequels. I've got the 2 sequels on DVD. So, I love the creature from the Black Lagoon. The only Universal monster I'm not really crazy about is the Mummy. I love Frankenstein, Dracula, the Wolfman, the creature from the Black Lagoon, but and the Phantom of the Opera as well. Not really a big fan of that, But other than that, I love all the Universal monsters.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I think the difference with the Mummy is I think it was less of a character, wasn't it?
Yeah.
All the other kind of creatures, you seemed like more of an individual, I guess. But I think the Mummy was more of, I don't know, it didn't seem like it had much kind of, like zombies in a way. It's kind of, there's not really that sort of character. Even though the creature from the Black Lagoon was a creature. And
exactly.
You still felt it was like this individual, which the Mummy, I don't know, it just kind of was a bit more sort of generic, really. A bit like
the Boris Karloff one, you only see him in bandages at the beginning, really, didn't you? Because he became like human, didn't he, throughout the film?
That always annoyed me when I was younger. I want to see bandages, damn it.
Yeah, that's it. I thought that when I first saw the original Boris Karloff Mummy movie. I thought he's only in bandages at the beginning, and the rest of he's got like the pheasant, hasn't he? Yeah, exactly. Yeah, Lon Chaney Jr. played him as well a couple of times, didn't he? In the sequels. Yeah.
I saw you talk about the Monster Squad the other day, and I know you didn't really like it. But what are your thoughts on the creatures from that? How the design of the creatures? I wasn't so keen on Dracula, and I wasn't so keen on Frankenstein's monster, but I like the Killman and I like the mummy in that. The mummy was like really kind of rickety looking.
Yeah. You mean the Universal World monsters? Well,
yeah, they're obviously inspired by that. Yeah.
Yeah, I love the Frankenstein makeup, the Boris Karloff makeup. I love that, and the Lon Chaney Jr., the Jack Pierce makeup. Yeah, and the Lugosi one. I must admit now, Bela Lugosi, like he's been spoofed that many times, hasn't he? You know, he's become a little bit of a facetious, hasn't he? Really, because there's that many people suck him off with the accents. But my favorite Dracula is Christopher Lee. You know, he's my favourite Dracula. But I do like Bela Lugosi, yeah. But I love the makeup on those Universal monsters, yeah. But the Boris Karloff one, Frankenstein's monster, that was the movie that got me into horror, you know, when I first watched it. Yeah.
So, it was probably I mean, the thing is about the Universal monster films, and I suppose the Hammer ones as well, is that I have kind of cozy feelings about them because I remember watching them with my grandparents, and I was quite young. Yeah. So I mean, they were died when I was reasonably young, but whenever it's like the Tarzan movies as well, the same thing. You know, the kind of Johnny Weissmuller Tarzan films, like those kind of older films have this kind of nostalgic feel to me because I think about like, you know, when I used to watch them.
Same here, yeah.
So, you know, it's kind of why also they hold a little bit of a special part in it.
Oh, definitely. And I used to get all the famous monsters Filmland magazines as well, because you couldn't get them like where I lived. It's very, very rare to get them in the newsagents. So when I saw one on the rack, I snapped it up completely. Because as well as watching monster movies, I was fascinated about how they were made. I used to like reading about the makeup. I used to like reading about all the anecdotes, and it's still the same now. I like watching all the special features and that. You know, I'm absolutely fascinated by the bits and pieces of a movie. Yeah, love it. Yeah. Definitely.
I actually, in a way, I have watched some like behind the scenes stuff. In a way, I prefer not to watch it because I like to, you know, it's like a peek behind the curtain a little bit. Once for me at least, and I've watched some films that my favorite film of all time is Fright Night. Yeah, and you know, there's quite a big documentary like that they're making. I've watched that because I was very much interested in it. Yeah. But a lot of the films are kind of ones that I enjoy, but maybe they're not the kind of like the top tier favourites. I don't know. I just prefer to watch the film and not see too much behind the curtain. I just like to experience it and not think about the kind of how they're making it. It's a bit like watch 4K because I don't want to see all the kind of like the sort of like the imperfections that I think 4K brings out. Which is why I just prefer to watch, you know, Blu-ray. It's kind of the best. Yeah. Really.
Yeah, well, my mum's exactly like you because she says, "Oh, I don't want to know how the movie's made. All I want to see is the movie, and that's it." You know, she's not really interested in all the how the monster's designed and that. You know, and even the anecdotes, she's not really all that keen on the anecdotes and that. You know, when the actors talk about like the movie and all the little things that went on the set, she just wants to watch the film and that's it. You know, but I'm fascinated by all that. You know, as I say in that. You know, but yeah. So there you go.
Books on it, like when I was younger and stuff. Maybe I prefer to watch it maybe a bit more after the fact, but certainly when it's kind of when I first watch it, I don't even tend to watch that many trailers, to be honest. Nice. I like to kind of go in fairly kind of cold, you know, and just
and I'm like that.
I watch some, but I don't watch loads of trailers.
That's it. And the thing with those trailers, they tend to show a little bit too much sometimes of the movie, you know. They go on for about 2 or 3 minutes, you know.
Yeah. You know, and I get what they want to show you, like, some of the best bits. But, you know, the problem is as well, is like, you think, I've seen a scene, which I haven't seen yet, and it's 15 minutes towards the end, so I know that's coming.
I know what you mean.
You know, so I watch some because I get sent trailers from some of the film companies to put on. Yeah. So on the channel, so I do obviously watch some, but I you know, not that much, to be honest.
No,
kind of a bit.
As I say, a lot of them do tend to give too much away on that, you know. But just to go back to the comments and see what we've got next.
I tend to waffle, so I do apologise.
It's all right. No, talk to your heart's content, because you know we've got like we've got a shared interest here and that. Yeah, don't worry about waffling. That I like a good discussion about horror movies. I could talk to the cows from home about my favourite movies, so don't worry about it.
If I'm bleating on too much, go shut it, Leo, and it's fine.
Am I dead yet? That was yesterday, lol.
Fun travel.
Right, Brian's here. Brian Gilson, hi everyone. You okay, Brian? Chestnut 7, hi Alan, everyone. You okay? Thanks for stopping by. Stuart George V, Now that was a series, wasn't it?
A great series. A great
yeah,
series.
in the 1980s, wasn't it?
Yeah,
I think it was a 90. Yeah,
we interviewed Jane Badler, who was Diana in that series.
Oh yeah,
on the channel. Yeah, it's good.
Oh nice. Yeah, Jeff's saying, "Hey, I'll have to check From Out. Never heard of it before. Yeah, I'll certainly be checking that out as well.
Honestly, it's very good. I mean, I've only watched 5 episodes. This is clearly not helped by the stupid title. I mean, why?
Yeah, that's it. Yeah. Well,
it's proper horror as well.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad you broached the subject there about titles and that being misleading. Have you heard of Inside Number 9, the series?
It's a TV series.
Yeah, TV series. Yeah, written by those two fellas from the League of Gentlemen.
All right.
Yeah. Well, I've got all the series on DVD. Now, to think like when you first saw the title,
I saw your collection update. Yeah.
Yeah. Now, when you first
that's because I've watched that. Yeah.
Yeah, when you first see the title, it immediately think of, well, is this a home improvement program Inside Number 9? Because there's such a lot of reality shows on doing your house down and that, you wouldn't dream it was a horror series or like a Roald Dahl, so it's very, very deceiving. Well, I got the companion book to that as well. But I've watched a couple more episodes actually over the weekend, and it's been a little bit of hit and miss, to be honest, So, yeah.
So it's the same reason why actors change their name, because they want to have recognition, Marilyn Monroe's real name is Norma Jean Baker, isn't it? Like Bruce Willis is like Walter or someone. So they change the names, they're more memorable, but it also, it's the same effect on kind of like films and TV and stuff. If you've got to have a YouTube channel, which is another good example. If you were just it's when I see channels are like, I'm Pete 5, 6, 7, 8 or whatever. It's like, what does that tell you? Nothing.
Yeah, that's it, isn't it?
So like, it's the same thing. It's just like, you need to have it. Well, to catch people's attention, I think you need to have something at least that this is related to.
That's right.
The title of the film or what have you. Anyway.
Yeah. Well, one of the best episodes I've watched of that Inside Number 9 was a kind of a nod to the Witchfinder General movie, Vincent Price, because it was like in the Middle Ages, and it's basically about this woman getting tried for witchcraft. You don't really know she's a real witch until the very end. It's got it's got 2 twists actually. So that was quite a good one. Yeah. And the one called Harrowing as well, which it was like a nod to the House of the Devil, movies like that. But at the same time, there's been a few turkeys and that, well, you get this, don't you, with some of these series?
I always remember like Tales from the Unexpected. That was kind of always stuck me. And I always remember an episode, it stuck me for years, is where some guys listening to like the grass being like pulled and, the trees and like making like sounds and they're in pain and stuff. So, a good story can affect someone and you remember it for years, but now we've got a stupid title.
Well, that's it, isn't it? Yeah. I always remember the Tales of the Unexpected, that one, the man from the South, where he gambled his finger. He met this rich old bloke abroad and that, and he wanted his car or something. And he said, something like, would you be willing to sacrifice your little finger? That was a good one. Yeah. It seems to go a bit downhill when Roald Dahl, because Roald Dahl, he introduced the first couple, didn't he? Yeah. So once they exhausted all his stories, he seems to go a little bit downhill. But there was some gems but they seem to go a bit downhill. I don't know.
Well, anthologies, is that they're always going to be a bit hit and miss. It's like when you get anthology films and stuff. It's rare that, I know Aaron from Screen Stars loves an anthology, but for me, it's just like, it's a real mixed bag. I mean,
that's it.
But you'll get some that is just like, oh my god. The problem is with shorter ones, short form stories, is that you never really get a lot of characterization. In like an episode of Tales of the Unexpected, they're a bit longer, but with a film like this, 15-minute story, it's hard to really get you to care about the characters and stuff. Yeah.
Well, I've got one there in my collection. I bought it a couple of weeks ago. It's like a Japanese horror movie, and I think there's about 25 segments in it. And they're very, very short. I haven't watched it yet, so I'm not really going into that with a lot of expectation and that, because some of them they're over in about 3 or 4 minutes.
Yeah, there was a Halloween one. I think it had 31 stories. I can't remember what it's called now. Tales of Halloween, I think it's called.
I've heard of that one.
And it was like 31 stories, and some of them are like literally 2 minutes. I mean, they're more like vignettes than
that's
stories.
it. Yeah,
you're right, but it's just like either like you want more if it's a good one, or if it's a not a
That's
good
it.
one. Just nothing.
Yeah, well, my favourite ones are the Amicus anthologies. I don't think they've ever really been bettered. You know, I love the Amicus and that because I grew up with them. Like I grew up with Boris Karloff and Christopher Lee. I grew up watching all the Amicus on a Friday night and that, you know. And my favourite one is Tales from the Crypt. I always remember the sad one where Peter Cushing hung himself. You know, Arthur Grim's like I thought that was a very sad one. That yeah, from 1972. But I love Amicus. Yeah, fantastic.
Yeah, good stuff.
Yeah. Right. Comments. Stuart George, can't make live chat. I'll watch tomorrow. That's fair enough, mate. Yeah. Chestnut 7. Hi, Leo.
Hi, Chestnut. Nice to meet
you. Screen Stars. Love Salem's Loss. I'm looking forward to the remake plus the new Exorcist. Now the new Exorcist. They're doing a trilogy of that, aren't they, Leo? What's your thoughts on that? The Exorcist.
Well, I mean, it's the same thing. I said I don't have a problem with remakes, but I mean, The Exorcist, the original, is one of those films, which is nearly perfect. I personally think. And I have a funny story about The Exorcist actually, because my mum saw that at the cinema while she was pregnant with me, and she was so scared she nearly ended up giving birth to me in the cinema. So she was like stressing out so much, and nearly she started to, you know. I get that. She was like, so she told me that, and I was like, so I have that sort of like, although I was kind of watching it in utero, you know, but sort of experiencing. That's probably why I'm a horror fan. But it's a great film, and it's you know, that is a great character. It's about Jaws, you know. That is where you have like really good characters. I think, and that transcends the film. So doing a remake, it's like doing a remake. It's the same thing. Doing a remake of Jaws, it is tough. I think the way to go with the Exorcist movies would be to have it a little different. I wouldn't do like a kind of more or less a straight remake. I would try and like, because you're not going to do it. You're not going to be able to kind of like. So you want to have this, you know, familiar elements, but I would say try and do something a little different. Yeah. Because it was done so well the first time. Yeah. You know, I mean, you could argue, some of the effects of kind of are a bit dated, but you that's not really legitimate criticism, I don't think, because you got to think of it at the time. So but I'll definitely watch it. You know. So we'll see. I mean, my worry, I guess, would be that because I don't know if you've seen the Pope's Exorcist.
I've heard of that one.
Pro? It's that it gets a bit CGI. I don't want like loads of CGI. And
I'm not. I'm not a big fan of CGI. You know. I'm not a big fan. I concentrate more on the story and the characters and that, you know. But I'm not really a huge fan of CGI. But it's it'll be interesting to see how it pans out anyway, won't it? You know, this trilogy. So But all that 1973 one, that caused a sensation. That when it was released, didn't it? I remember in our school playground, that was all they were talking about. In the
you watched it at school then? I was like, school trip.
The Exorcist, they were talking about it, And I always remember when I first saw the novel by William Peter Blatty in Woolworths and that, they had a shelf just completely covered in Exorcist paperbacks. You know, the black cover. Have you ever seen the original black cover, which has got her faces all blurred and that?
Yes.
Ooh. Yes. God, But I would tell you what I do like while we're on the subject of devil movies. I love The Omen, but I'm not fussy on the remake. What you were saying before about remaking it like it's similar, that was a big culprit for me because I think it was in 2006 they made it like word for word. Did you see the remake of The Omen?
It's you know. It's like a watch. It's kind of like it's forgettable. You're never going to go to watch it. You'll rewatch the original, won't you?
That's it. I think with remakes, you've got to be very, very careful. You know, by all means, do something different, but at the same time, make sure you do it well because, you know, one bad step and you can ruin the whole movie. And by the same token, don't remake it word for word, you know, because that's the worst thing you can do. You think, it's just another remake and that, you know, they're not doing anything different in that. So it's a very, very, you know, it's a tough crap to master that, isn't it? Doing a good remake.
I'm going to say something controversial now, and I've actually got a live stream planned myself for this. I was going to actually ask you, but it probably won't be till August. Because I actually think, if you think about remakes in general and about all cinema, I have to say, I think horror has actually got the best track record with remakes. You know, I mean, they're not all winners, but there's a lot of good ones, and there's a lot of ones that actually surpass, the like the original. I would argue that The Hills Have Eyes. Obviously things. Like
I like that one. Yeah, I like that
stuff
one.
like that. And there's a few. So I actually think if you compare it to I know there's big rubbish ones like The Fog and all that, but for the Blob is another great one. There's been a lot of horror remakes where I think has a better batting average than like remakes of action films or stuff like that. So I'm hopefully going to be doing a remake version of a live stream at some point, probably in August. But I actually think there's not a bad track record.
Talking about non-horror remakes, I'm a huge fan of Charles Bronson's Death Wish, the original one from 1974. Now, they remade that a couple of years ago, didn't he? Was it Bruce Willis? Yeah, I haven't seen it, so I don't know whether I will actually, because I love the first one that much. But some people say it's good. Have you seen the remake of that?
I have. I didn't mind it. I mean, it's kind of like a straight to DVD action film. It's the best way. It's probably slightly above. But I don't mean it's like, it's this great film. It's like, because I watch a lot of action films and that you get sent through screeners and things. So I would say it's probably Bruce Willis's last kind of like film where he kind of like was really, obviously he's had medical problems.
Right.
He seemed quite, with this particular film.
Yeah,
and it's they slightly kind of I think changed his kind of motivations a little bit. So I didn't mind it. Obviously, I don't think it's got that classic status like the original has. Yeah, but there's actually I don't know if you're familiar with a guy called Robert Bronzi.
No, don't know him.
He's a Hungarian actor that looks the spitting image of Charles Bronson.
Oh, right.
And, his name is Robert Kovacs, but they've kind of they've changed his name to Robert Bronzi. And he literally looks like the spitting image of Charles Bronson. So they've they've done like budget versions. They've done Death Kiss, for example, rather than Death Wish, but it's more or less the same story.
Oh, I see. Yeah,
it looks weird because he does look like the spitting image of
Charles Bronson.
Yeah, and he's done a few like low budget things, but there's another guy that I'm sort of familiar with, a big Bronson fan, so I actually sent him one of these films to watch. So it's worth tracking down if you just for curiosity, maybe a trailer or something.
Sounds interesting. That I'll have to watch out for his movies. But I love the Death Wish movies. Right, Brian's saying, have you or Leo seen the series Midnight Mass that's on Netflix? I haven't seen that. No,
I have. Yeah,
is it any good?
It's quite good. It's you mentioned the Salem a lot, and it does have a similar. I don't want to spoil it for you.
No.
But it has a Stephen King feel to it, without it being Stephen King property. It's Mike Flanagan who did. I don't know if you've seen like The Haunting of Bly Manor and The Haunting of.
Oh no, I haven't seen that, but I've heard of it.
Haunting of Hill House. I can't remember what it's called. But yeah, he's done a couple of that. So it's. I mean, it's a little slow at times, arguably. Yeah. And there's one sequence which it goes on to like a mega monologue, which is a little bit annoying. But for the most part, it is kind of a similar story to, and it's very well produced, very well acted. It's worth a watch. It's an above average show. Yeah. And it's kind of, let me just say, it's similar to Salem's Lot without kind of completely spelling it out for you.
Yeah, that's right. He's saying here, Brian, he's saying, my sister said it's like Salem's Lot. Yeah.
Yeah, a little bit.
Right. The 2004 version was a disappointment big time. I had a great cast, Rob Lowe, Donald Sutherland and Rutger Hauer. Oh, this is the remake of Salem's Lot, isn't it? Funny enough, Sutherland and Hauer were both in the original Buffy the Vampire Slayer. I can't really comment on Buffy the Vampire Slayer. I haven't seen it.
I love that show.
Do you?
Yeah. I used to watch it. Right. Yeah. But the original film is quite different.
Yeah.
It's just more of a silly comedy.
Yeah. Kevin says, hi, Alan, everyone. Hope everyone is well. Not too bad. Thanks, Kev. Hope you are too. Thanks for stopping by. Jeffson, hey, Alan, you mentioned that Jimmy Clitheroe. Oh, Jimmy Clitheroe. As an aside, in one of your last videos, and I listened to a radio documentary about him. Oh God, yeah, he's like a grown man. He's like a schoolboy. He's depicted as a schoolboy. He's actually a grown man. Jimmy Clitheroe. He's a very clever comic. Have you heard of Jimmy Clitheroe, Leo?
I haven't, but I watched what you're referring to, because you're talking about Burial Ground, aren't you?
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, well, that fella. Yeah.
Yeah,
Jimmy Clitheroe.
I'm not familiar with Jimmy Clitheroe, but I know the reference.
Yeah, the guy in Burial Ground. Yeah, I love that movie, Burial Ground. Yeah, love it. Yeah, it's great. Yeah, I like that one. Rice, Screen Stars is saying Midnight Mass is in many ways similar to Salem's Lot. Yeah. Screen Stars again.
Bit of a watch list now, aren't you, Alan?
Sorry, Leo.
You're going to have a little bit of a watch list after this.
I am. I've got a couple of movies there. I'm going to show what I've watched recently and have your opinion on, see what you think of them. Right. Yeah. V is my favourite mini-series of all time. Very popular series. Yeah. V. Yeah. Remember that other one, Alien Nation? I didn't really watch that.
I'm not a big fan of that, to be honest with you. The aliens looked a little bit too human.
Yeah, wasn't a fan of that. Brian's saying to Screen Stars, I will definitely check it out, right? That's what I'm going to ask you, Leo. Have you seen that movie with Renfield with Nicolas Cage in? I
haven't seen it. Another guy reviewed it for the channel, so I wasn't kind of like in a big rush to watch it. I do like Nicolas Cage.
Yeah.
But I know it didn't get particularly good reviews. I read the review that it was like half of it is like some kind of cop drama.
Yeah.
And then it doesn't really have anything to do with the kind of the Dracula side of it. So it seems a little, the reviews weren't brilliant. So I didn't really sort of rushing out to kind of watch it.
But once I heard there was comedy in it, that's put me off a little bit. But I do like a good horror comedy, but there's very, very few. There's very, very few horror comedies I really enjoy. Abbott and Costello, Me Frankenstein, I like that one. American Werewolf in London, I like that one. There's very few horror comedies I really rate. What's your thoughts on them?
Comedy's difficult because, like, a scare is a scare. Like, if a movie's scary, then I think it will scare most people. You know what I mean? But comedy is different because people will find different things funny. What I find funny, someone else is going to find funny.
Yeah.
And so it's a harder one to get right. And, it's kind of like, for me, if I'm watching a kind of a horror or any type of comedy, really, I still want to have somewhat of a kind of you can sort of believe what's going on. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
It's like where if something funny is happening on screen, I don't want it to be too outlandish. I want it to at least, is in the realm of a sort of possibility for me to kind of get into it, really. And that if it goes too, like, I'm not a big fan of spoofs. I know everyone loves like Naked Gun and all that sort of stuff, but to me, it's just not my sort of thing.
Right.
So it's a harder one to get right. I feel that there's less people that will like specific types. Some might like satire, some might like more kind of like toilet humor and things. So so it's a harder one to get. And there's been a few kind of like horror comedies that I've. There's horrors that have comedic elements. You mentioned American Werewolf in London. So I wouldn't class that as a horror comedy. I would say it's got comedic elements.
Yeah.
But there was funny enough, I reviewed a low budget werewolf movie called The Snarling.
Right.
And for a horror film, it wasn't brilliant, right?
Right.
But for a kind of horror-based comedy, I actually found it quite funny. And it's very kind of referential about American Werewolf in London and kind of lots of kind of like werewolf kind of related jokes.
Yeah.
So I actually genuinely found that pretty funny, and I gave it a good review. And like the filmmakers, like can you watch our next one and all this, so there certainly have been some horror comedies that I've enjoyed.
Yeah.
But
yeah,
I know what you mean. They're a harder one to get right.
Oh, they are definitely, yeah. You can make it like really ridiculous, can't you? I would tell you, while we're talking about horror comedies, I did hear a lot of scathing reviews about that new Monsters movie. Have you seen it? The new one, the new Monsters movie. You know, the from
God, no.
The Monsters. Yeah, I haven't seen it. I've got no intention of seeing it. No, I've heard some really scathing. The Monsters. No,
I've never watched the Rob Zombie film.
No,
and ironically, I used to be a big Rob Zombie fan when he was in the band White Zombie, but I've never actually watched a Rob Zombie film. Weirdly enough,
right?
It just happens that I haven't watched them.
No, I don't fancy that Monster. Yeah, it sounds like an awful movie. That's us. I'm going to stay well away of that. You know, yeah, that's some really bad reviews. That, yeah. We've got Screen Stars saying definitely like a good anthology movie. The VHS films, especially. I'm not really a fan of the VHS because I don't like found footage. Have you seen any of the VHS movies, Leo?
I haven't seen any of the VHS movies, but I do like found footage.
Yeah.
If I'm honest. Yeah. But I was a bit like when I remember watching the Blair Witch Project, and I remember that was like, oh, it's the best, it's the most scary film ever, and I sort of watched it, and I was like, whatever. I kind of like, oh, it's rubbish, and after that, I kind of like, I didn't really like it. But then I watched one called Grave Encounters, which I thought was very good, and then that kind of, changed my mind a bit. So I got into it, and one of my favorite films is a lower budget, lesser known film called The Borderlands. It's called Final Prayer in America, and it's a genuinely creepy film. It's a low budget one, but if you're not like fan footage, I don't think it's going to change your mind. But it's really good. It's a really good creepy fan footage movie. That is not like stuff happens in it. You know, it's like not like one of these things. Nothing happens. Stuff happens.
Yeah. You know what gets me about found footage? I think I've said this before. You know, when like they go to a haunted house or they go like into a monster's lair, there's somebody that's holding the camera and you get all the chaos or breaking out, and it's still standing there with the bloody camera filming. In real life, you drop it and leg it, you know. Like that, the shaky camera. I call it the shaky camera syndrome. Yeah,
I know. It's one of those things where, I mean, I'm going to refer to the Borderlands now because they got around this. And what they're doing, basically, it's a couple of like Vatican-sanctioned priests that are investigating a miracle. So what they've got to do to prove it, they've got to wear these like cameras on their like heads with like headbands.
Yeah.
And they've got to constantly be filming to prove that there's no like breaking the chain of evidence and stuff like that. Yeah. So because it's on their head, it's kind of like it's looking where they're looking. So it's a good conceit to always managing to get stuff. But you've got to be, again, you're looking at like decent writing. You need to have like decent writing, and it's a shame. It's one of the things because like found footage, if you haven't got a lot of money, it's a good way to kind of like mask your budget, but it presents you with problems that you don't have in regular films like that. And I've seen like, you know, plenty of films where, you know, that someone's like, oh my God, there's a monster. What am I doing? Like,
I've seen loads of them,
people like talking directly into the camera. Like you would be talking to the person behind it, wouldn't you?
I know what you mean. I've seen loads of
found footage. It's a good, it can be quite realistic, but there are trip hazards.
That's it.
That can make it seem. I mean, Aaron from Screen Stars is a huge found footage film fan. So it can work, but it's easy to mess up.
That's it. Yeah. Oh yeah. Right. Kevin's saying one of my guilty pleasures is The Four Skulls of Jonathan Drake. I love that movie. I saw that a few years ago. I don't remember too much about it. Have you seen that, Leo?
I haven't, to be honest.
No, I've seen it a few years ago. I don't remember too much about that one.
It's got a good title, easy for a search engine.
Yeah, definitely, yeah. Kevin, hi, Leo.
Hi, Kevin. Nice to meet you.
Jeff's saying, The Omen, Salem's Lost, both scare me now, but The Exorcist never did anything for me. Just my opinion. The Exorcist never did anything for him. Yeah. My mum didn't think it was all that scary. She said, like, I don't know what all the fuss was about, but then on the other hand, there's a lot of people have been scared witless by it, haven't they?
It had, I think it was quite effective for me,
Yeah.
But do you know, on the subject of possession films, one thing I always wonder with possession films, right?
Yeah.
Is like, what does the demon actually want? Like, if it was unchallenged, I feel like saying, so what's your end game? Are you going to just like walk around in this person's like body and do what? What is it you're going to do? I always think, like, what's the end game of the demon? I mean, like, for me, and this is maybe my logical brain thinking, if I were a demon, I wouldn't want to like advertise the fact and then have the potential of getting exercised. If I were a demon possessing someone, I wouldn't want them to, like, other people to know necessarily. The whole thing is like this torture. It's kind of like tormenting people. I get it. But I always think with like exorcism films and possession films, like what does this actually want to do? What would be its ultimate end game? Because I always think, it's always stopped before it happens, isn't it?
That's it. Yeah, exactly.
I mean, what is it actually trying to do?
Yeah, good point. Yeah. Trying to take over the world from a little girl's bedroom. I don't think so.
Like,
you think you'd have a more grand ambition, wouldn't you? Like world domination, like Hitler or somebody like that, trying to take over the world.
There's a few films that have kind of like hinted that there's kind of like, what was the one I saw? I saw I've forgotten what it's called. There was a possession film I'd seen recently, and it was like, I've forgotten what it's called, but it was kind of like all of these kind of like a lot of possessions were happening, like it was building an army, and I thought, okay, well that's kind of like, you can see what the kind of the goal is, so to speak. But I mean, obviously, we're talking about a demonic brain would probably think a little differently to a more logic human brain. But like, to me, I always think, well, what is it actually trying to do?
That's it. Yeah. Well, it's like if I can draw an analogy with the Hammer films, Christopher Lee's very last movie for Hammer, The Satanic Rites of Dracula, in 1973. Now, what he done with that, he made it like he wanted to like kind of take over the world, but he had like, he was going to use the plague to sort of like wipe everybody out, including himself. And I thought, well, that's a bit odd. He wants to take over the world, and he wants to wipe everybody out, including himself. I thought that needed a little bit of tweak in that plot, but I do love the movie, even though it's got a small, even though at the end when he walks into that hawthorn bush, is it Dracula to do that? He just basically walks into the hawthorn bush, and piece of cushion just stakes him at the end, But for all the faults, I love. Well, as you know, I'm a big Hammer fan. I do love those movies.
Well, I mean, I love. Do you know what? There's loads of movies that traditionally you might say aren't good films, right? But I still love them. There's plenty of. If it's entertaining, there's something to be said for that, even though it might not necessarily always make loads of sense. But if it can be entertaining and make sense, even better. But I do I like kind of some sillier films, but
Yeah, it's like the Peter Cushing Frankenstein series as well, because it was like a different story in every movie, wasn't it? The first one, like he was led to the guillotine, but he somehow escaped in that, and he started all over again, and he might take a different name on, But what Hammer done there, they continued with the Baron, didn't he? Whereas in the Universal movies, they continued with the monster, didn't they? But So,
have you ever seen a film called Daybreakers? It's a vampire film. You mentioned about Rights. Have you ever seen Daybreakers? It's got Ethan Hawke, Sam Neill. So that's an interesting vampire film, because it's a vampire film, but in this film, the vampire is the dominant race.
Yeah,
and they've basically exhausted the supply of humans. And the vampires now are pretty much run out of humans to kill. And it's like, well, what would happen at that point? They've exhausted it. So it's kind of like parallels with using fossil fuels and all this. But it's like the parallel is that. So it does have that kind of social message, but it's an interesting idea where you see the kind of like this world where it's been dominated by vampires, and now they're at the point where there's very little humans left, and these vampires are now sort of starving and going feral.
Right.
Which I thought was a good idea. It's a somewhat underrated vampire film, if you like. It's obviously a more modern one. I think it's about 10 years old now.
Right.
But it's it's an interesting idea, and it's like kind of like where if vampires were to take over the world, what would be the kind of the point where they would get to and things like that. So,
I'll have to check that out. Yeah, sounds interesting, that one. But yeah, I love those old Hammer movies and that, as I say, like for all the faults, just kind of liking them, yeah. Screen Star says the Exorcist films are not going to be a remake, but more legacy films. Oh yeah, they're going to bring Linda Blair back and Ellen Burstyn, I understand. It's being made by David Gordon Green, who did the 3 recent Halloween. Oh, don't talk to me about the 3 Halloween movies. I'm not a fan of them at all. Not a fan. The Evil Dies Tonight. Oh my God. Oh, what do you think of them, Leo? Did you enjoy them, the Halloween movies? David Gordon Green.
Yeah. I didn't mind if you're talking about the 3 later ones, I didn't mind
3 later ones. Yeah.
The first one. The second one was, to me, the weakest.
Yeah.
I know a lot of people didn't like the third one, but I actually didn't mind that. I didn't love it, but I actually quite liked that it teased that someone else might take over, and I was, that's really curious, like almost like having this kind of relationship between Michael Myers and like a kindred spirit.
Yeah.
So I thought, we haven't really seen that before. That's kind of an interesting idea.
Right.
I would have actually liked to have seen more of that, to be honest. Like, do we have almost a kind of like, maybe not a friend, but someone he can sort of share it with, so to speak.
Yeah.
But I think it was undercut by the kind of the kind of the shooting kind of showdown with kind of like Laurie Strode and Michael at the end, which I guess was what people wanted.
Yeah.
But I actually thought it would have been better if it's like a Halloween spin-off. Do you know what I mean? Where it kind of introduced this other character in the same sort of
that's right.
As Michael Myers, and then maybe they would have probably given people what they wanted and have more of a straight kind of sequel. But I think it would have been like an interesting spin-off. I like to think that Halloween 3 takes place in the same world, if that makes sense. Yeah. So, that happened in the kind of like the I know there's the continuities a bit all over the place now with those films, but So I thought it would have worked had it been a kind of Halloween Legacy or something they could have called it, or I don't know, but something like that. But it is what it is. I didn't mind. The second one though was pretty indefensible.
Yeah, well, the Stephen King movies, they've sometimes done that. They've done like crossovers in them, haven't they? You might you get one movie, you might see Christine pop up in that and then go away in that. They sort of like overlap, don't they? I've seen that a couple of times.
Taking place in the same sort of
universe. Yeah, but I know what you mean. Yeah, it was a good. They should have done that, really. Right, let's see what we got next. And it's Chestnut 7. Night of the Living Dead and Psycho remakes unnecessary. Yeah, I'm not a fan of those 2 remakes. Are you, Leo? Those 2 remakes.
I like the Night of the Living Dead, the Tom Savini remake, which is I think it's 96. Because it sort of upped the effects were. I mean, the Night of the Living Dead is a classic film.
Oh yeah.
But this kind of had a lot more modern effects. So that. It benefited from that, and it did tweak the story a little bit. Psycho, on the other hand, was unnecessary. I mean, there's been a few remakes of Night of the Living Dead because it's a public domain property. But Psycho was a waste of time if you ask me. But but I didn't mind I'm gonna be honest. I actually think I prefer the remake of Night of the Living Dead to the original.
Do you? Yeah.
Technically speaking, it's kind of like. It's more proficient. Obviously, it doesn't have that original spark necessarily. Yeah. But I actually think if you look at it, it's like, I'm going to be controversial again now. I prefer the remake of Assault on Precinct 13 than the original.
I haven't seen either of those movies, so I can't really comment. Yeah.
I'll probably be the vast minority of people who say that.
Yeah.
But to me, the original doesn't make sense.
Yeah. Well, I tell you one remake I do like, and that is, the 1979, the first version of the Amityville Horror, that starred the girl out of Superman. I thought that was a bit slow and a bit overrated, but I did like the remake from, I think it was 2006. I did really enjoy that one.
Reynolds,
You know, I thought the 1979 one was, at times, it was really interminable, very slow, you know, very slow paced. With, you know, with Rod Steiger, he played the priest, didn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah. But I did prefer the remake of that. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I get that. That's fair.
That was one big hoax, that wasn't it? God, the money they made out of that.
That went on. That actual house went on sale about 2 years ago.
You're joking?
No, it was on sale.
Oh, right.
If I was a millionaire, I might just have it and just have a Halloween party in there.
That's it. Yeah, it'd be the ideal location for a Halloween party. Yeah,
really, yeah.
But yeah, I do love the remake of that. Right, Slack Hoffman. Hi, Alan and all. You okay? Thanks for turning up. Right, I'm going to show those movies in a minute, Leo, and if you give your thoughts on it, you might have seen them. I don't know, so
I look forward to it.
Yeah. Jeff saying, can Leo recommend any new horror films in 2023?
I'll tell you what, I've got one that's due. I think I reviewed one which I haven't put the review out yet because I had an embargo. It's called The Breach.
Nice.
And if you like Lovecraft films, it's like, or Lovecraftian sort of films. It's worth a watch. It's not actually out yet, I don't think, but it's called The Breach, and I don't want to give too much away, but it's essentially this kind of like out of the way, like shack, you know, in the kind of the middle of the woods, basically. Yeah. And there's someone doing sort of experiments. You know, if you know Lovecraft, you kind of think kind of From Beyond and the stuff like that. But it's really good.
All right.
You know, and this is I think I got the review coming out. I think it's the 2nd of July because sometimes they don't want me to review films too early. Yeah. But it was worth a watch. I would definitely recommend that one.
The Breach, it's called.
The Breach.
Yeah, I like to watch that. I like the Lovecraft movies. I'm a big fan of Reanimator, the Jeffrey Cooper. I like the first one best though. Yeah. And he made The Bride.
They kind of remade. I haven't actually seen because they did remake the Reanimator fairly recently. I haven't seen it. Yeah, but it was like they're like 50-minute films. They're like little short films.
Oh, right.
But I haven't seen them. I know they've done it. On TV, but. Yeah,
the third one, he was in prison, wasn't he? Continuing his experiments beyond Reanimator. But I do like the first one. That was one of the first movies I actually rented out when I got my first video recorder in the 80s, Reanimator. When I saw the cover on that, you know, Herbert West, I've got to have that, you know. Yeah. But
I remember Evil Dead 2 was one of the first films that really kind of like properly got me into horror because it was like the ending of that film was like, wow. You know, that was like, what an ending, you know. Yeah. But, and that sort of got me into the sort of zombie kind of horror, demon, that sort of thing. But yeah, I remember that was the first like horror film that I really remember sort of blew me away. Yeah,
I tell you, you know, two movies that really scared me. They're not really supernatural, and if you've got a phobia of The Dentist, I highly recommend you don't watch them. The Corbin Bernsen movies. Have you seen The Dentist?
I have, yeah.
Yeah, what did you think of them?
I don't know if I think there's two of them.
Yeah, there's two of them. Yeah.
I think I've seen I don't think I've seen the second one.
But you've seen the first one.
I used to rent that out on VHS.
If you're going to go to the dentist,
I'm not too bad with the dentist, to be fair. So but I can imagine it's one of those easy phobias. But it's, I had to go to the dentist recently because I had to one of my wisdom teeth out. It was fine.
Yeah, that's it, isn't it? Yeah. Corbin, I like Corbin Bernsen. I think he's a good actor.
Yeah, he is. Was the is it Dr. Giggles? Was that another one where he was a dentist?
I think I might have seen that. I might have seen that Dr. Giggles a few years ago, but I don't remember too much about it.
I want to say he might have been a dentist. I can't really remember, but
there's Marathon Man as well, wasn't there? With Dustin Hoffman, that was like kind of a more kind of a thriller, that wasn't it? But that that scene with the Laurence Olivier, God. Am I dead? Yes. Renfield was okay and kind of funny, but they ruined it with that cop woman trying to get revenge on gangsters. Made it too much about her.
That's what I heard. It was too much about that storyline.
Oh, God.
They didn't have enough to make a full movie. They just padded it out with secondary story about gangsters and stuff.
Yeah. Brian's saying Tucker and Dale versus Evil is a really good horror comedy. Don't think I've seen that one.
That was quite a fun concept because
Yeah.
you know how you go into like, because it's basically a take on the kind of like the backwards, hick movies.
Right.
In this movie, it takes that you have the perspective of the hicks, but they're not trying to be bad. They just seem to accidentally sort of end up kind of killing people and stuff. And they just think, who are these city folk? And they're kind of afraid of them. So it's a fun concept.
Yeah.
It's like somewhat original, It's hard to be original these days, but that's one film that I think did it.
Yeah. Slack Hoffman, Jenny Agutter was fantastic in American Werewolf. I'll say she was. Yeah.
I like get any argument with me about that.
Yeah, very easy on the eye.
She was, yeah. That's the film I know her best from,
Jenny Agutter, yeah. Oh, yeah, she's a good actress, Jenny Agutter. Yeah. Am I Dead Yet is saying, Leo, I thought your T-shirt was about Rob Zombie, lol.
No, it's a Mr. Men T-shirt.
Yeah, Mr. Zombie Men, yeah.
I did have White because I was a fan of White Zombie, which was his band.
Yeah.
Before we did a solo, because I used to be a big fan. Very nice. Classic.
Yeah, Frankie Boris Karloff, yeah.
Yeah, so I had some White Zombie T-shirts.
Yeah.
But not a Rob Zombie T-shirt.
Yeah. Brian's saying, I really enjoyed the snarling too. The policemen were funny in it, and the guys working as actors on the film set. The snarling, what you mentioned before.
It was, yeah. It's a bit like what's it called? What's the zombie one? With Edgar Wright and Simon Pegg, Shaun of the Dead.
Shaun of the Dead, yeah.
It's a bit like that, but for werewolves, but low budget.
Yeah. Screen Stars is saying, oh yes, I love found footage.
He does.
Yeah.
He does.
Stack Hoffman. I came over to London in 2011 and I went to see Rob Zombie at the Brixton Academy. I also saw him here in the US, Marilyn Manson and Alice Cooper with All the House of 1,000 Corpses characters. So he's still going, Alice Cooper, isn't he?
Yeah, I saw him when he supported Motley Crue, Alice Cooper.
Yeah.
And I saw White Zombie in Brixton Academy as well. Well, it wasn't Rob Zombie, it was White Zombie I saw.
Yeah.
So they're good live, and I saw them at Donington as well.
Yeah.
I haven't seen Marilyn Manson though.
No. Schools Out was very popular in our school in the 70s. Schools Out, yeah.
Yeah, definitely. I saw. I don't know if you're familiar with Gwar, but they're like kind of like they all dressed up in like they're a bit like Alice Cooper in the fact that they all have theatrics and stuff like that, and they all dress up as like monsters. And I got covered in like fake blood.
Oh God!
Picture on my YouTube channel.
Yeah,
and it's just like literally. I knew they had like this fake blood they were squirted out and stuff, and I was literally covered in it. It was in my pants. It was everywhere.
Oh, Kensington Gore, the hammer call that Kensington Gore.
Yeah, it was fun gig.
Yeah. Jeff's saying, one thing in horror which really annoys me is when there is a monster that cannot be killed by guns, but they still keep shooting. I know what you mean. Yeah, indestructible. Yeah. You know what always annoys me in horror movies? You know when they down the creature or the psycho or whatever, and he's wearing a mask. You'd always get one dumb brain, don't you? I've just got to see who it is. You know, and you know what's going to happen, don't you? They go gingerly. They move over to take the mask off. They grab hold of a hand, don't they? You know, I've got to make sure. You know, you've got to I don't know who it is. Make sure he's dead. You know, one of the horror tropes that really annoys me.
Yeah, I mean, I think some films address that now, where you've got definitely going to make sure this guy's dead and stuff.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I did a few years ago now. I did a top 10 like horror movie tropes. Do you know the one that annoys me? And it's like it's where you see. Let's say there's a character like I am now, right? And there's like where am I? So there's like a void here, right? I'm wrong way. And hang on, this isn't working. And there's like a ghost behind them, and so they're like, oh yeah, the camera's here, and you see a ghost behind them. And they go, who's that? Who's the ghost appearing for? It's like the ghost invisible like most of the time. right?
Yeah.
And then you get the characters' backs turned to them. Why is it now visible? It's like, it doesn't make any sense, you know. It's just like, or with it in found footage, that's another thing. So you have this big void. You think there's something that's going to be popping up around here.
Yeah, that's it. And also, you know, like when you watch a ghost movie, that trope's repeated a lot. Where the girl's sitting in front of the mirror and she's brushing her hair, and a figure flits past. You know, when you see a mirror scene, you're going to see a figure flit past. You know, that's one trope. And loads, isn't there?
There is loads. I mean, funny enough, at one point I even considered making my own horror film purely because I got in an argument with the director.
Yeah.
I reviewed this film, and I got in a bit of a spat with them on Twitter because they were like, it was a low budget film. Yeah. But I sort of got in a spat, and they're like, oh, but you couldn't do better. And I'm like, well, I'm not a filmmaker, but I was like,
yeah.
So I was thinking about what I would do, and I kind of I had an idea and stuff, and I was like, well, what I would do is try and like make it like how I feel people actually act. One of the things that bothers me about horror films is people don't actually act like real people. So I'll give you an example of what I try and kind of like try and demonstrate this. I don't know if you've ever watched prank videos where someone kind of jumps out and scares someone.
Oh, like Jeremy Beadle kind, you know.
The person being scared is like, Jesus, they're like,
out like that.
Over and they're like, or they run. That's what people do when they're scared. But that's not what happens in films.
No.
And so I would like, that's one example. So I would like to see a film where, you know, for instance, that one thing, and then along with some other ones, where people genuinely act scared. And there's been a few examples where I do that they have, but a lot of them don't. And it's like one thing, and someone's seen something clearly supernatural. Yeah. They come face to face with a ghost. Yeah. They don't say anything. And the next day it's at breakfast. Oh, yeah, cornflakes.
I know what you mean. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's ridiculous. Like, I've done a couple of videos myself about tropes. I love doing them, you know, and you can always think of another one as well. One of the most ridiculous ones I've ever watched, I forget what the movie was, but it was like this creature, something like the creature from the Black Lagoon. And it was in the forest and that. It was going after everybody. And there's this fella with his girl and that, you know, and it's walking towards him. And instead of running away from it, he tries to dribble past it like a bloody footballer trying to score a goal. Well, the creature grabs him, doesn't it? You know, instead of turning around and running like Billy-O into the woods, he tries to navigate past it, asking for trouble, you know. Oh, ridiculous. And the haunted house movies where they never seem to put the lights on.
Yeah, that's another good one. You know, again, you can have that, but you've got to write a reason why there's no electricity or something like that. You've got to have those kind of like those reasons. And it's like another one is like, again, if you're looking at like if someone's in like a dark place, why is it in smoke? Who's got a light? Let's set fire to a bit of wood. You know what I mean? It's just like, why don't people do that? And it's just like, you know,
that's it. Yeah,
again, if it's a sillier film, you can maybe look past it.
That's it.
If the film is trying to be serious, I think you've got to think of what people would do. And I was speaking to like a director, and I was like, and he goes, well, the problem is, it's like then it's difficult to write. I'm like, well, you know, but then surely you've got to think of you write better. Then really, that's the answer. Think of reasons. Don't be lazy and kind of just think, oh well, we're just going to do it. That. You know, it's just like is it one of the problems I have with low budget filmmakers? Is they put up. There's so many films that come out that are utter crap, and they have a really cool cover, and I just think we're burning the market because people are only going to buy absolute crap for so long. I'm not buying any more of these films because whenever I buy like a film that looks cool and it's absolutely rubbish, I'm not doing it anymore.
Yeah, that's
it. So I think you're probably putting people off buying films by putting zero effort. And I'll give you a little inside baseball here. I was talking to a British filmmaker, low budget British filmmaker. And they said, they basically, and I'm not saying this is true of everyone. I'm just saying this instance. Yeah, they shot 2 films over 1 week, 2 different films over 1 weekend using same actors, the same sets, and they wanted the films like just in 1 weekend, 2 films they made, and with a budget of like I think it was like £7,000 or £8,000 £5 for like both of them, and they just get them out like bam, get them out quickly because they're like a machine. They sort of and basically it's like they don't make stacks of money from them, but they do it so quickly and so often that these films end up making a little bit of money, but they make so many of them, it ends up coming a profit. So it's like, but I said to them like, surely you want to take a bit of time and like make a better film and get more plaudits, because if you have this string of like crap films, I mean, some of them, you know, sometimes they might, if a film is crap, but a filmmaker's tried, I think you can see it. But some of these ones where it's clearly just like, bang it out. You know? Yeah,
that's it.
I think you're damaging the market because people aren't going to watch. People won't take risks on films.
That's
because they just think that they just think they're going to end up with a load of old crap.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, I'll give you an analogy as well. You know, on the literary side of horror, I don't know if you know, and I'm a big fan of James Herbert, the British horror writer. Yeah. Now, when he wrote The Rats back in 1974, there was he opened the floodgates for an avalanche of Animals on the Rampage paperbacks, which were generally crap. You know, Night of the Crabs wasn't bad, but after that, you got like Night of the Dogs. You know, Guy and Smith, but oh god, and some of them were awful, you know. I mean, like I only read one or two. I said, these aren't as good as The Rats, you know, because that was like when that was released in '74, that was a real shocker, you know.
Yeah, I read The Rats,
but he wrote Lair as well and Domain. He done like a trilogy, but there was a big avalanche of Creature on the Rampage books and that, you know. So they're just milking it, really, aren't they?
I did like Guy and Smith, but he basically wrote B-movies, you know.
That's
he was like if like, you know, James Herbert was kind of like your, you know, bigger budget. Guy and Smith and others like him were the B-movie versions of books.
That's it. Yeah, I'll tell you a funny story about James Herbert. You might know it. You know, when they made a movie of The Rats called Deadly Eyes, you know, James Herbert went over to America to watch it getting made, and they made like dogs, like Dachshunds and that. You know, it's trying to sort of like in place of the rats, like Dachshunds with rats fur on. Do you know that story? And they were running around barking. Yeah.
I mean, you know, it's I mean, it is silly, but in some ways, I like the intuitive note. Have you ever seen Food of the Gods?
Many years ago, Big Giant Animals.
Years ago. One of them I watched ages ago. I don't really remember it, but I always remember seeing the trailers for that. And when I was on VHS, I really wanted to see it.
Yeah,
and there were two of them, weren't there? But
that's right. Yeah.
Anyway, I'm waffling like I did Warren.
It's okay. I do remember that Food of the Gods. Yeah. H.G. Wells, I think it was based on.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Yeah. Chestnut 7. Jeff, unless it's a zombie, just one headshot. Jeff to Chestnut 7. Zombies excluded.
Well, it depends what zombies, because like Return of the Living Dead, headshot's not going to do anything.
That's it. Yeah. Am I dead? Yes. Yeah. You would think the devil would take over the body of a president, a queen, or a religious leader like the Pope. Lol. Yeah. Good points. Yeah. For world domination.
These demons need to be better organized.
Exactly. Yeah. Horror films that I have enjoyed in 2023 so far are Nefarious, Evil Dead Rise, Renfield, and The Pope's Exorcist. Yeah.
I haven't seen Nefarious. I've seen the other one. Oh, I've not seen Renfield.
Yeah.
I quite liked, but it is a bit of a CGI thing at the end.
Yeah. I haven't seen any of them. I'll have to check those out. Oh, I'm going to show you the movies now. What I've watched recently. Just got a couple here. So you can tell me your thoughts on them. So this is the first one, Ready or Not. We've seen that one.
I didn't mind it. I know you didn't like it. I remember you saying when I watched your video, I didn't mind it. Samara Weaving, who's in that, I think it's good. Pretty good screen queen.
Yeah, so there's that one. This one I liked when I watched it years ago, but not so much now. The Monster Squad.
Do you know what? That's a film I kind of enjoy, but I don't think it's a particularly well put together film.
No.
To be honest, because the Monster Squad, this group of kids,
Yeah.
They didn't really do much. They didn't really have
No.
much of an impact, I don't think, apart from like the one older kid.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. It's there's a channel called Wolfman's Got Nards. I don't know if you're familiar with him. And that's his favourite film. And I was like, it's all right, but it's not a particularly good film, though, is it?
No.
You can watch it. And I was like, no, I love it.
I fell asleep. I fell asleep near the end, and that, you know.
I like some of the creature designs, like the wolf, the creature, the lagoon creature, and like the mummy and stuff. And it's a good idea, but I don't know. It just didn't quite gel for me.
No, it's not one of my favourite movies.
Do you like? What do you think about Ghostbusters?
Sorry,
what about Ghostbusters?
No, I'm not a fan. No, not a fan at all. Yeah,
love it.
Pale.
I haven't seen it. I haven't seen either of those films.
No, I won't tell you about it, but it was a bit slow. It had its moments. Let's just say it had its moments, but it was a bit slow for me. Yeah. So
she's become quite the actress in that. Mia Goth's become quite the big horror icon now, isn't she?
Yeah. Christopher Lee. Now it's not often Christopher Lee's movies disappoint me, but this certainly did. The Whip and the Body.
I don't think I've seen that.
Yeah, it's not what you might think it is. Whip and the Body. It's a bit. Well, it's got its moments, like, you know. But it's like a gothic thing, like, you know, like what the kind of movies. What's the name used to be in Barbara Steele? Those kind of movies. Yeah, not a good movie. So nice addition.
They can't all be winners. No.
And last and definitely least, in my estimation, this is a real bore fest. This one, a real bore fest. Island of the Dolls.
Who's it directed by?
The director. It was directed Jackie Bell. Jackie Bell. No.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not a good movie.
Is it British or is it an American film?
I think it's British. Yeah, British. Yeah,
probably like you know how I was saying about one. I mean, I haven't seen that one, to be honest, but it strikes me as one of these ones that are quickly made and kind of like it was rubbish. It's based on a true story about this island. There's supposed to be hundreds of dollars on them, and you don't know how they got there. You know, so I thought to myself, well, this sounds cool. I'll give it a try. Oh, it was terrible. So they're all the ones I've watched anyway recently. So there you go. Yeah. I mean, you know, that's the sort of thing I'm talking about. Oh, that's a cool cover. You know, cool idea, but then you watch it and you know.
That's it. Yeah, I've got it. I tell you what, I did guess. I got that new box set from Indicate with all the Mexican horror movies in. Have you seen that?
I think I saw your post about that. Yeah.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah,
Mexicans, so I'm sure she'd appreciate it.
Yeah, I haven't watched them yet, so probably watch them over the weekend. You know. Yeah, but I do like Indicator. Yeah. So, but you're right when you say about, you know, these covers and that, you know, you can be foxed by them. It's happened to me time and time again. You know, I've liked the look of a movie. I bought it from Asda for say $5.99, $6.99, and when I've got it, I thought, bloody hell, what if I wasted me bloody money on here? You know. Yeah. So they can be very deceiving. You know, the covers. We've got 80s horror fan. I like the House of Wax remake. I saw it many years ago. I don't remember too much about it. I do like the Vincent Price one.
Paris Hilton.
Don't remember too much about it.
It's a bit of a schlocky one, but I think it's quite fun.
Yeah, but I love the Vincent Price one. I'm a big fan of. I'm a big fan of Vincent Price. Absolutely love his films.
Oh, yeah. Have you seen the movie Waxworks?
Is that the one with Patrick McNee and it played John Stewart in the Avengers?
Yeah,
saw it a few years ago. Again, I don't remember too much about it.
Well, that was quite popular. It's almost like an anthology because you get these people who go in these different waxworks, and they have like a little mini.
And it's a story behind the figures, isn't there? When you go to the figures, there's like a story behind each figure. Yeah,
I quite enjoyed that film, and there's a sequel to it as well.
That's right. Yeah. Chestnut 7. I'm the opposite, Alan, with the Amityville. The first one creeped me. Yeah, I suppose it's one man's meat, isn't it? You know, I thought the first one was very slow, the 1979 one, but I love the remake. They've done a string of those, haven't they? Amityville 2, Amityville 3. They've done a string of those.
There's about 50 Amityville films, isn't there, at the moment? But the problem is, because Amityville's a real place in America, anyone can make a film and slap Amityville on it. you know, and people assume it's part of the franchise.
That's right. Yeah.
So you get Amityville everything.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. Amityville Scarecrow.
Some of them are terrible.
Sort of seen the light of day.
There's one called Amityville Mount Misery Road, and it was like literally one of the worst films I've ever seen.
Yeah.
Literally one of the worst films I've ever seen.
God, you've made loads of them, haven't they? Yeah. Amityville Scarecrow was one I watched a couple of weeks ago.
One, yeah.
Kevin's saying the original Amityville Horror was the highest grossing film from AIP at the time, 1979. Yeah, it did do well.
That's why it's so many sequels and kind of like spin-offs. It was sort of well received. I mean, it's very typical of a 70s film.
Yeah. Came out in the same year as Alien, didn't it? Ridley Scott's Alien. That's the only Alien movie I really like is the first one. What's your thoughts on the Alien?
I love the second film. It's my favourite.
Oh, Aliens, yeah. That's more of a real war movie, that, isn't it? All guns blazing, that one, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, I just think the character work is so good now. I like Bill Paxton's one of the actors. It's one of my favourite. He passed away.
Yeah.
He's one of my favourite actors, and his character is brilliant in it.
Yeah.
And, I thought that. I mean, I like the original Alien, but I think I prefer Aliens.
Yeah. Chestnut Sub 7 Kevin, really, I didn't know that. 80s horror fan. The Dentist 1 and 2 are great. I watched them last week. Oh God, yeah. Corbin Benson. Kevin's saying yes, and one of the last official AIP movies before they became filmways. All right. 80s horror fan. Massively underrated horror is Brain Scan. I haven't seen it. Loved that film. Got Edward Furlong, 100% worth a watch. Have you seen that one, Leo? Brain Scan.
I saw it when it came out on VHS. I haven't seen it recently, so I don't really remember it, to be honest with you. But I know I had seen it. And I sort of remember. I don't remember much about it, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
But I remember like the guy with like a sort of the big sort of head and all the sort of hair. Like some sort of video game bad guy, I think it was. I don't really remember much about it, if I'm honest. But I remember thinking it was pretty good. Well, I couldn't tell you much about it.
Oh, that's what I meant to ask you, Leo. Are you a fan of the Giallo movies, the Italian Giallo movies?
Not especially. I've seen some, but Giallo is not something that particularly is in my wheelhouse. I actually prefer a bit more overt sort of. Basically, anything with VFX, I'm kind of into. So obviously, I like some kind of the mystery murder sort of stuff. Yeah. And I have seen some that I've enjoyed, but it's not one of my sort of favourite genres, to be honest.
No, they're a bit hit and miss, aren't they? I like the bird with the crystal plumage. That's one of my favourites, and I like it.
I won't take anything away from them. They're just kind of like it's the sort of films I can appreciate that they're well made, but they're not really sort of like blow my skirt up, so to speak. Yeah.
I like Susie Kendall. She was the heroine, and I'm a big fan of Susie Kendall. Yeah, she only made a couple.
What's it called? Dark Glasses. I don't know if you've seen that. I
haven't seen that one. No. Is it any good?
It wasn't bad. I don't think it's like. I mean, again, because I'm not a huge Giallo fan, I wouldn't take my word necessarily how it compares to earlier stuff. But from the general feeling, it's pretty good, but not as good as obviously his sort of earlier stuff.
Yeah. We've got Slack Hoffman, the comedy of horrors, Vincent Price, Peter Lorre, the comedy of terrors. I think you mean Peter Lorre, Boris Karloff, and Basil Rathbone. I'm not a big fan of the comedy of terrors. I thought it was a bit ridiculous, that one. Have you seen that one, Leo?
If I have, I don't really remember it, to be honest.
Yeah, it's not one of my favourite Vincent. I'm a big fan of Vincent Price, as I said before. That's not one of my favourite Vincent Price movies. That one. 80s horror fan. All-time worst remake must be The Wicker Man. Lol. All-time worst remake.
That's with Nicolas Cage.
Yeah.
I haven't seen the remake, to be honest. So.
Yeah, I prefer the original one with Edward Woodward. Yeah, I'm not really a fan of that one. Slack Hoffman says, yes, the Wicker Man remake was dreadful. Yeah. You've done the Wicker Tree as well. That wasn't very, that wasn't much to write home about. The Wicker Tree.
I like some folk horror. I think folk horror can be intrinsically creepy.
Yeah.
But yeah, you know, it's got to be done well.
Yeah. Did you like that? Talking of folk horror, did you like that one called Wakewood, the Hammer one? Wakewood.
Yes.
Yeah, I like that one. They tried to bring the little girl back for so many days, don't they?
Yeah.
It's good, that one. Yeah.
Yeah, that is a good one.
Yeah. Chestnut 7, the girl in the original Christine, her surname is Belford, actually lived in the Amityville house before the murders. And one owner later on was killed in the Twin Towers. All right. The girl in the original Christine, surname is Belford, actually lived in the Amityville house before the murders. Yeah, Ronald DeFeo, wasn't it? The guy that shot all his family. Ronald DeFeo, yeah. AC's horror fan, Lover's Lane. Lover's Lane is the prime example of a good cover shite film. I would agree with you. I wasted my money on that a few weeks ago. Have you seen that one, Leo? Lover's Lane?
No, it sounds like I've dodged the bullet on that one then.
Oh, awful. But I'm a big fan of Arrow. Like, I think they've done some fantastic releases over the years. But by the same token, there's been some real turkeys, you know. Yeah. Slack Hoffman. I've got the original vinyl album of The Wicker Man by Paul Giovanni and Magnets. Corn Riggs. Do you remember the Gravedigger played by Aubrey Morris, who also played Mr. Deltoid in Clockwork Orange? I haven't really seen Clockwork Orange right through. I've only seen clips of it. Yeah. Do you like Clockwork Orange, Leo?
You know what? That's because that was banned in the UK for ages. Clockwork Orange, and we got a pirate of it.
Yeah.
This is before the internet, you know.
Yeah.
We got a pirate on VHS, and I was like, you know, wow, this is going to be amazing. You know, I was like, you know. It's one of those films where I felt it was a little bit sort of oversold. I think the ideas are good, but it's just, I don't know. It would, to me, I think I was just expecting this like renegade masterpiece, and I know a lot of people liked it, but you know, it was. I'm not a huge fan of surrealism.
No, I'm not. No,
Clockwork Orange was a little bit too surreal for me.
Yeah. Did you like Eden Lake?
Eden Lake. Now that's a scary horror film.
I'll say it is.
That's totally plausible.
Oh God,
totally plausible.
Yeah, definitely.
Sometimes people ask me, what's the scariest horror film you've seen? Eden Lake. Because you can absolutely imagine that. And that ending.
Oh, God, yeah. Very downbeat. Very down.
Hell, you know.
Oh, God, yeah. That was a tough ride, Eden Lake, yeah.
That was harsh.
And I think that's what makes it more credible and more sort of like intense. You know, it's so true to life, isn't it? You know, you can actually imagine that happening, you know. Yeah. Oh, yeah, it's a brutal ride, that, Eden Lake.
Definitely.
Yeah. Right, just waiting for some more comments. So, have you got anything lined up to watch over the next couple of days, Leo, or are you just playing it by ear?
I get sent screeners from film companies to watch. Let me have a quick look what I've got. I've got one called Holiday, which is about I haven't seen these yet. Something to do with like an Airbnb. I've got Alien Planet, Site 13.
Yeah,
these again. That's all I know about them. I don't try and kind of like sort of know too much about them. So I've got sent a few screeners today.
Yeah.
For films that I'll probably watch, and you know, well, I will watch and I'll review. So yeah, I mean, I get because my channel is mainly reviewing films. So I get sent, you know, ones to watch from film companies, and I mean some of them are like, oh my god, but so some of them are you know are fun, and I'm hoping obviously I'm hoping they'll all be good. So I've got a few like they've got sent today. I'm off tomorrow, so I'll probably be cane. That's what I do on my day off. I'll cane a few films. Because when I'm at work, it's difficult to do it in the evenings. I'm so knackered.
Yeah.
But I want to try and watch the rest of season 1 of From, and I'll probably do a review of that.
Right.
But
yeah, one of the movies what you mentioned, I seem to remember one of the movies what you did review was Humpty Dumpty. I got that one.
Yeah,
but
I did buy that one.
The case,
the second one, haven't they?
I've got round to seeing a sequel, and I was sorely disappointed in it. I preferred the first one. It was a totally different story, so I won't be adding that to my collection because I rented that house. I rented that house on Prime, the second one, whereas the first one I bought it because I liked it, but I didn't like the sequel. No. So
the other one you liked was the Jack in the Box one, wasn't it? And then
I love two of them. Yeah, I love they're great. Them, I love them.
There's a third one of them coming out.
So. Oh, I like the Jack in the Box. Yeah, definitely. But Humpty Dumpty.
Creature.
Yeah,
great design for, especially for a low budget.
Oh, film. Definitely. Yeah. But the Humpty Dumpty, as I say, the Humpty Dumpty sequel it wasn't as good. I don't know if they'll do a third one. It remains to be seen.
Probably will. I mean, again, you think about Humpty Dumpty is a public domain property, so it has brand recognition without having to buy rights.
That's it. It's like Dracula, isn't it?
There was Jack and Jill.
Yeah,
I think I've watched two of those. Jack and Jill, and there's obviously the Winnie the Pooh one and all that. So.
Oh God, Blood and Honey. Oh God, I hated that one. I don't know. I got through it. Blood and Honey.
They totally dropped the ball on that one. They could have had a legitimate, because it's the same people, it's the same company that makes all of these. And I thought because they got so much buzz, they could have like made a genuinely interesting idea.
Yeah.
Because what I thought they should have done was like, because it was just a load of girls get, it's that same old thing. A load of girls go to a house and just randomly there's like, But it's like what I think they should have done with that film is that they had to what's he called? Robbins. Is it Peter Robbins? I've forgotten the Robin. Who's the Christopher Robin?
Christopher Robin. Yeah.
So what they should have done is have him like his was my idea for it. They have him come be an adult, come back after he goes to college and stuff, and then he sees all the occupants as kind of the cute animals, but everyone else sees them as like these kind of like monstrous things, but he's still sort of sees them as this kind of like, so it's like a psychological crutch for him, and they've got to kind of convince him that he's sort of manifested these things somehow, and they've got to try and like get him to realize that they aren't these kind of cute things, and that what he sees is not what everyone else is experiencing. That would have been my idea. Yeah. So it would have been a little bit, but it's not, well, no, it's just a bunch of random girls get chopped up when they go to a house. It's like, that's like every other film that this company makes.
Yeah. There's been a hell of a lot of movies, hasn't there? Especially from America, where it's like it's the same old formulaic plot, a gang of teenagers going to the woods and that, and you get bumped off one by one, and there's always one final girl. In the end, you think, oh, God, not again, You like something different, Do you know what? So
I'll say it here. I've said it a couple of times. Where are the male protagonists? Final Girls are great, but every single horror film in the last, since like Evil Dead and Fright Night, name me 5 films that have got a male protagonist.
That's it. Yeah, I've noticed that.
It's just like, man, it's sick of that trope.
Yeah. I tell you, I haven't seen for a while. Danielle Harris usually plays a final girl, doesn't she? Danielle Harris. Yeah. I haven't seen her for a while. Yeah.
I think she's done a bit of TV.
Has she? I've
seen Leanna Quigley pop up a few times recently, and Felicia Rose tends to be in quite a lot.
Oh yeah. Oh, are you a fan of Last Night in Soho? Do you like that movie? Have you seen that one?
I haven't seen it.
I quite like that one.
It's a horror film.
It's it's got like a supernatural element. It's like set. She goes back in time to the 60s, and it's got like she goes to this like boarding house. It's got like a portal, and she goes back in time.
Prostitutes or something. Goes like not interesting.
Goes back into the 1960s to this girl, like she's a kind of a model and that, and there's murders done and that. I won't say too much about it. Like I don't want to spoil it for you, but I quite enjoyed it. Yeah, it's quite cool.
Like the supernatural stuff in it. I just thought it was like some drama.
Yeah, supernatural drama. It is. Yeah. Yeah, so I quite enjoyed it. Yeah, it's a good one. Anna Taylor-Joy's in it.
Yeah, she's pretty good.
Yeah, Anna Taylor-Joy. Yeah, Jeff Joffrey saying to Slack Hoffman, "Yeah, that Bigfoot scene was good. Bigfoot." There's been loads of Bigfoot movies as well, hasn't there?
Quite a lot, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Am I dead? Yes. Regarding my devil taking over people's bodies comments, maybe he can't get near world leaders because of the security, so he takes over normal folks' bodies instead. Good points. He can't
a random little girl has no influence in anything.
That's it, yeah.
It's easier to manipulate, but
that's it,
like,
yeah.
So you get hold of them now.
Yeah. Well, let's face it. Some of these world leaders, they don't need to be demonically possessed, do they? They're already.
Yeah, well, I was just going to say, some of these world leaders clearly don't have too much kind of mental capacity.
That's it, exactly. Yeah.
More, but
Yeah, that's it. Slack Hoffman. What about 90s classic The Dentist? Yeah, we're talking about that before. Yeah. Let's say if you've got a big phobia of the dentist, I'd stay well away. Jeff Joffrey, Waxworks, not seeing that one. Sounds good. Yeah.
It is good. It's got the guy from Gremlins in it, Zach.
Yeah.
Someone.
Yeah. Brian's saying to Jeff, it's really good. It's really good. It stars Zach. Is that Zach Galligan? Zach Galligan from Gremlins. It has a werewolf, a vampire, and the mummy in it. The sequel is good too. Bruce Campbell has a small role in the sequel. Oh, Bruce Campbell's in the sequel, eh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He did like a kind of, they do like, the film The Haunting. They do like a kind of, it's like a sort of like a parody almost of that. And they do like an alien kind of like, it's like a kind of, not exactly a parody. It's not making fun of it, but it's kind of like, good at homage.
Oh, right. Yeah.
So, in the first one, you kind of got the werewolf, Dracula, mummy. And then the sort of second film, it's more like, more sort of, the alien and the whole thing. It's kind of like other films. There's a Dawn of the Dead kind of like sequence in the supermarket and stuff.
Yeah. That's what I was going to ask you, Leo. Do you like the 1960s rare paranormal movies? Well, don't get something about much. Very rare ones. I mean,
some of them. I mean, some of them. I sometimes like to try and go back and kind of watch some of the older films and things. It's difficult to kind of find the time, if I'm honest. But some of them I especially like going back and watching like. Especially like kind of like satanic, because I always think that sort of that period of time, I don't know, it had this sort of like the kind of like the devil kind of like worship films. It's just a bit because of the whole thing with like the 60s and a little bit kind of like
psychedelic, wasn't it?
Particular kind of vibe to it, where everyone was kind of into power and drugs and everything.
That's right.
It works quite well.
Carnival of Souls is one of my favourites from that era. Carnival of Souls, that's a good one. There's one movie I wanted to run past you. It's a movie called it's called The Sweet Sound of Death. You might have seen me mention it on my video. It's got like a foreign title, La Lamada. Does it ring a bell?
Yes. No, I remember you sort of saying about it. Yeah, I haven't seen it.
It's a good one, it's very good. I won't give too much away, but it's basically about this young couple. He goes, it starts off like Night of the Living Dead in the graveyard and that, and he make this pact that whoever dies first, whoever dies first will come back, do their best to come back as a ghost. So shortly afterwards, the girl dies in a plane crash, but you don't really know she's really perished in a plane crash. It's very good because he gets all like weird things starts happening, that he gets these strange phone calls suggesting that she might still be alive. It's very good. Yeah, I really liked it. So I recommend that as a good rare one and that. Yeah. But, it's very good. Yeah.
I think that's sometimes good where you have a film.
Yeah.
I've seen it in a few films where it's like a possession film, for example, or a vampire, where it suggests it could be a couple of things and it gives you evidence in both.
Yeah.
And sometimes it will tell you that it will be revealed, or sometimes it will still leave it some ambiguous.
Yeah.
I think it's quite clever that, sometimes you're thinking, you're flip-flopping. Oh, I think it's that, or I think it's real, or I think they're really supernatural. If you can take a kind of like the viewer on the journey, I think it's effective.
Yeah. Like The Innocents, that's a good one. Deborah Carr, because you don't know if she really sees the ghost or if she's a little bit, losing her mind. Like, have you seen The Innocents?
Good one.
No.
A while ago.
She goes to look after these two kids and that, in this big country house and that, and she's supposed to be seeing this ghost of a lad that died there years ago, but you don't really know if she's imagining it. The Innocents, The Turn of the Screw.
Yeah. I think a while ago. Yeah,
that's a good one. Have you seen the others with Nicole Kidman?
Yeah.
That's got a good twist at the end. I like the others. It's a good one.
James Herbert, wasn't it?
Who?
Is that based on James Herbert? No, am I thinking of?
No, The Haunting.
They did do a. They did
Haunted. Sorry,
yeah,
Haunted.
that's it. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking of. Yeah.
Yeah, with the Irish actor. Is it Quinn? Is it Lyle Quinn or something? Quinn. He plays the psychic investigator, David Ash. That's a good one. That I like that one. Brian's saying, I recommend the British werewolf film Howl. I've got that one in my collection. Yeah, it's really good. Yeah, about a train breaking down and werewolves trying to get at the passengers. Yeah. Have you seen that one, Leo?
I have. I do enjoy that. The only thing I have about things like this that is set in Britain, it's such a small country. It's hard to really suspend your disbelief that you would have this sort of in the wilderness, so to speak. You know what I mean? Just like you take. I watched a film the other day. I forgot when it was. I watched a film the other day, and it was like, we've been driving for hours, and will you be halfway across the country?
Yeah,
if it was in the UK. Yeah, you know, and it's like, is this not? It doesn't really have these more of like these wild areas. I think if you go to America, you could argue with that, or like Russia. You know, I mean, most of that country is uninhabited. You know, so like but. So there's elements that you can have there, but I think I like the film, but again, I was a bit like, come on, you know, no one's seen these, and it's like we're talking about the UK, like cutting through the forest. Yeah, I liked it, but that kind of was
and sometimes you can tell. Sometimes you can tell if it's low budget, can't you? You know, if there's
it's a pretty good cast, as I remember. It had Shauna McDonald, who was like in the Descent film. Different films and stuff. Actually, a lot of people did like the werewolf designs, but I actually quite liked them because they're kind of they look quite a little bit different. I like bipedal werewolves.
I thought they looked different. Yeah. I've got the Blu-ray of that in my collection.
Yeah, it's good. Yeah, I've got a Blu-ray as well. Another good werewolf film is one called Bad Moon. It's a 90s one. It's an American one, and for my money.
Yeah,
the transformation scene's not good. I will say that. But the actual practical makeup of the werewolf itself, it's the best looking werewolf. And I don't mean it's sexy werewolf. I mean it's like the suit that they built. It's the best kind of like, and it's a proper like, you know, it's got snouted front. Yeah. Really, really good werewolf design. It's a lower budget. It's based on a book. Yeah, and it's got Michael Paré in it, and I really like that movie. Dog Soldiers though is another one I really like as well. Yeah,
I'll have to check that one out though. That one you mentioned before, Bad Moon. I've seen it advertising that on YouTube and that in horror magazines. I'll have to check that one out. Yeah,
I mean, the story itself is okay, but it's just got a really good werewolf, and it's a great scene at the beginning where I think someone gets bitten, and it's in the jungle somewhere, and you know, the initial werewolf attack, brilliant.
Yeah, I think Scream Factory have done a release of that. Bad Moon. Yeah, I'll have to get that. Yeah,
I'll warn you now, the transformation sequence isn't good because they use CGI. It's like early 90s sort of CGI, but if you can get past that, because it's only a few seconds, the actual werewolf itself, looks brilliant.
Yeah. Now, as much as you probably know Lon Chaney Jr. is my favourite Wolfman, if you've been watching my videos. There's just one thing that bothered me. It's a bit like facetious, really. Like you laugh when I say, every time he changed, he always had that shirt on, didn't he? With the breast pockets and that, you know. And in the first Wolfman film, when he first changes, when you see his feet changing and that, he goes out, he's got his vest on. And when he goes out into the woods, he's got that bloody shirt on. Did you notice that? You know, as if like he's got chains and had to go out on the town and that, you know, that's what bothered me about them. But otherwise, I love them films, but you know, you just can't ignore it when you see it, you know.
No, I mean, I suppose back in those days, no one really sort of worried about it too much.
Oh no, I didn't think anything of it as a kid.
You were a bit more sort of, you know, noticing.
Yeah, more critical now. Yeah, I know there's a lot of movies. There's a lot of movies I watched when I was a kid. I didn't think anything of these little flaws, but now I notice them right away. You know, so he's like, oh, you know, there's a boo boo there and that. You know, it's like You know, Dracula, Prince of Darkness, the second Christopher Lee movie.
Yeah.
You know, when they go, like, there's 4 people, and they get told time and time again, don't go near the castle, don't go near the castle, don't go. And what do? They go to the castle. You know, I don't have any warnings they had in that movie. You know, so, but it's all part of the fun, isn't it?
Yeah.
As you said before, you know.
That's the thing. I think when when we watched those films originally, there wasn't that sort of expectation about.
No, there wasn't.
The trope, so to speak.
No,
so
there wasn't.
Enjoy it for what it is, more
exactly.
of a kind of pure entertainment. I think in a way it is kind of, I suppose, the proliferation of cinema and horror films have maybe I wouldn't say spoiled, but kind of like, now we kind of look for a bit more of a cynical lens.
Yeah. That's it. Yeah, you can see all the little letters, can't you? You know, where the dots don't exactly join up, you know.
Yeah.
But I do love that movie though, Dracula, Prince of Darkness. Well, I love all the Christopher Lee's Dracula movies and
He's
that.
Great Dracula.
Oh God, yeah. But he had a thing, didn't he, about like not wanting to do the role. He said time and time again, "I'm not doing this. I don't have to do this and that." But in the end, he talked him into doing it, didn't he? Just one more time, you know.
Yeah.
But thank God he did. You know.
He did, yeah.
Yeah, because like he was going to be replaced in Taste of Blood of Dracula by Ralph Bates, but they wrote Christopher Lee in at the last minute and that, you know, because he said think how many people you put out of work if you don't do it, so you've got to do it. So he said, and that's the only reason. Well, according to Christopher Lee himself, that's the only reason why I made Taste of Blood of Dracula.
No, right, about that,
yeah. So, but still sadly missed to this day.
Good chat.
Oh, Christopher Lee, and he's not only like horror movies, he's made a lot of non-horror, hasn't he? Like Scaramanga, the man with the golden gun. He was in the Lord of the Rings, wasn't he? You know, very versatile.
He was great. To be fair, he's such a commanding presence. Wherever he does is,
I'd say,
memorable.
I love Peter Cushing as well. Yeah,
the good old days.
Yeah. Slack saying Jeff Joffe, especially Bigfoot's face and when his arm got ripped off. What film is he? I don't know what film he's referring to. They presume it's a Bigfoot movie.
Yeah, I don't know. I missed that.
There's one Hammer movie. As much as I love Hammer, there's one Hammer movie, one of the early ones, but I wasn't too keen on, and that is the Abominable Snowman of the Himalayas. Not too keen on that one. Have you seen that one, Leo?
I've only ever seen that once, and it was ages ago. I mean, I'm not a huge fan of Plague of the Zombies, to be honest. I quite like zombie films.
Yeah.
But I don't know, Plague of the Zombies never really.
Yeah. What about the Reptile? Do you like that one?
Yeah, but that one, I always remember that. Do you know what? I had a book that had the reptile on the front, and I thought it was like horrific looking. So the makeup and stuff, it was pretty good. Yeah. And
the Devil Rides Out. Do you like that one?
Yeah.
It's a good one. Dennis Wheatley and Christopher Lee played the goodie for once, and that didn't he?
I know. Yeah, it was great.
Played the good guy.
He's better as a bad guy. I'm not gonna lie, but it's nice to change it up.
Yeah, he's most noted for his bad guys, isn't he? Really.
Some people, I mean, you get that. You find that, don't you? Certain actors they just love to be bad guys, or the better for it.
Yeah, that's it. I remember him from The Wicker Man. He opens the coffin with the hair in it. So, I remember that scene, yeah. You know, there used to be a guy in my street. He's dead now. That was a spitting image of him. Lol. Jeff's saying, cheers, Brian. Yeah, I look forward to seeing this. And Brian's saying to Jeff, you're welcome. We've got Dr. Impossible here. You okay, Doctor? Evening. Finished watching Doctor in the House. Finished watching a Hammer film last night, The Night of the Eagle. I haven't seen that one. Quite a film, and it never gets mentioned much. That sounds like a war film.
You haven't seen it?
I haven't seen it. No, definitely not seen it. I've heard of it, but I haven't seen it. Sounds like a war movie, that where eagles there. Right, Slack saying, am I dead yet? Yeah, that's the guy. He was really creepy looking. Oh, that's what I was meant to ask you, Leo. What do you think of the Quatermass movies? Do you like them? Quatermass.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't seen them in a long time, but I do enjoy the Quatermass in the Pit and.
Yeah, I like that one.
For what it was, I don't think those films it's one of those ones where I think haven't necessarily aged all that well to a degree, but they were classics for their time.
Yeah,
I don't think they're
like
quite
the
as
first one.
interesting now. As like they're not quite as fun to what we watch as some
No.
of the other older films. I don't think.
Yeah,
I think it's probably more science fiction-y stuff. It kind of
sci-fi. Yeah. Jeff's saying, "Wow, I'm tired now. I've been up since 4 a.m. Ha ha. I need my bed. Bye all, Alan and Leo. Sleep tight. Watch the bugs don't bite. Yeah, have sweet dreams. Don't have any nightmares. Right. Yeah. Oh, and talking of nightmares, which leads me onto the subject of Freddy Krueger and the Nightmare on Elm Street movies. What's your thoughts on them? Favourites, least favourites, Leo?
Oh, the original one, to be honest. The original one was proper scary when I watched it.
Well, I like the first one the best.
After that, he became more sort of comedic to a degree. I still enjoyed them. I think I like the Dream Warriors.
Good one, that. Yeah.
And I even enjoyed Freddy versus Jason. Like that's one of those things you always think, isn't it?
Yeah.
But yeah, it's still. I mean, I'm not the biggest slasher fan. I prefer like creature features or supernatural.
Yeah.
My sort of favourites. But yeah, I mean, obviously, there's no denying the cultural impact. One of the things I think now is I think you have a lot of films that want to be the next Fred, who they want to have the next Freddy.
Yeah, that's it. Like Terrifier
character. I mean, I think the only one that's come close to it recently is the Terrifier movie.
Terrifier, the clown. Yeah.
Yeah, but we haven't. It's been a while. So, I mean, I guess the one before that would be Ghostface from Scream.
Oh yeah,
96. But it's been a while since they've had a kind of a horror character, because the 80s was, a lot. But
as regards to Nightmare on Elm Street movies, my favourite's the first one, obviously from 1984 or 85. I do like Freddy's Revenge. I can't understand the stick that movie gets because he's really serious in Freddy's Revenge Part 2. I do like Dream Warriors, but after that, went right down for me. Once he started putting, he was making him like a stand-up, comedian, and I didn't like that,
Yeah, no, it's kind of like it was being more mainstream, wasn't it? It was trying to be more.
That's it. It's like
with franchises, that's what they tend to happen with them.
Just imagine Christopher Lee saying, "Drink a pint of blood a day." You lose a serious. You'd just go out the window, wouldn't it? The scare factor.
Yeah, he was. I mean, you've got to think of like his character and like what he had done. I mean, it's pretty horrific stuff, and you almost kind of like. I think you forget that when you kind of go into the later films. It's kind of like, kind of like this, sort of like this, kind of fun character, and it's like I guess they're silly and enjoyable to a degree, but I think he was legitimately threatening in the first couple of films.
Yeah,
but
Yeah, I say like once he started putting the comedy in it went right down for me. It didn't say. There's only the first three I really like, and after that, they didn't do anything for me.
Yeah, I think it's true to a point of all of these kind of like these horror icons.
Yeah,
the more you put out, I think it lessens the impact to a certain degree.
That's it. Yeah, it'll be interesting to see. It'll be interesting to see how After Clown fares with any more sequels. They're going to do a Terrifier 3, aren't they?
Oh, 100%, because the last one made a lot of money for them. It's a low budget film.
Yeah, I know.
And it made I think it was like 15 million or something like that, and it was made for less than $500,000. So the profit ratio is massive.
Yeah.
The only thing I preferred the first one. I have to be honest.
I do. I prefer the first one.
I wasn't keen on the little girl sort of. I thought it took away from. I didn't really like the supernatural aspect, even though I've just said I like supernatural stuff.
Yeah,
I preferred the more. I don't know. I just thought it kind of ended up being a little bit over ambitious to a degree.
Yeah. Well, you know what my problem was? Well, I had a couple of problems with that second one. Number one, I didn't like the Sesame Street scene where it was like in a TV show. Thought that was a bit mad. And then
long, that film as well. A bit long.
the Sesame,
Not
yeah,
Howard.
the Sesame Streets, yeah. And then where the final confrontation, she became like a warrior, didn't she? Taking him on at the end and that. But I thought that bedroom scene was really brutal. That was really brutal.
That
God,
was harsh, and even for me, who's quite an ardent horror fan.
Oh God,
I was like,
yeah, that's it. Yeah, but as I say, I do prefer the first one. I thought the second one could have been shortened. Like it's like talking about the length of movies that go on too long. Another example, I don't know if you like this one, Midsummer.
I've never seen it, to be honest with you.
Forever.
I'm not so keen on the surreal films, and I know Ari Aster's like,
yeah,
kind of art house is just like,
yeah, that went on for too long, you know. And what got me about that, when they went to the camp, like the summer camp, like it was like lovely colour. I'll give it that, lovely colour. The Blu-ray's fantastic. But when they first join the commune, and you see this guy like a ritual, he throws himself off the bloody cliff, and he's staying in the camp. You think to yourself, "Oh, I'm not staying here. It's dodgy here," you know. So that was a trope, you know. Yeah. So this is it. You see, a lot of these movies, they start off good. And you might get a character doing something stupid, and it completely ruins the movie. I've seen many a movie where I've been enjoying it, and then they make that one stupid move, and it goes right out the window.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, yeah. Again, it's having those realistic. I mean, again, it depends on the tone of the film they're trying to make. If you're making a serious film, I think you should have characters that kind of act not like complete idiots, or if you want to do that. Have you got to write a reason why they're like, oh, he's, you know.
Yeah.
It's just like, it kind of bothers me, like movie logic and stuff. And
that's it. Yeah.
I don't know. It's like, sometimes the writing in these things are like, oh.
That's it. Sometimes you think you can't be bothered just tack an ending on, or just stick a sort of like a cardboard character in. Said that, that'll do them. Get the movie finished. That'll do them. You get that impression, don't you? Now and again, you just want to hurry it up. Yeah. A good example of going into a horror comedy, what you'd expect. You know, you wouldn't really be annoyed. Abbott and Costello meet Frankenstein, where the Lou Costello, where he gets the call from the Wolfman. He's on the phone saying, "You've got the body of the Frankenstein monster and Dracula in a chamber of horrors." Now, you'd expect something funny to become of this, because when he changes into the Wolfman, Lou Costello says, "If you're going to start barking down the phone at me like a dog, I'm going to hang up." Now, you'd expect that, wouldn't you, in Abbott and Costello film? Yeah. But if you're going to go into a horror movie expecting to be scared, and you get a stupid scene or somebody saying something stupid, it detracts from the credibility of, as you said before, it detracts from the enjoyment factor.
I'll tell you a good example of a horror comedy that I think, was an interesting idea. There's a recent movie called Deadstream, and I know you might not have watched because it was found footage. Yeah, and it was one of the only examples of like a comedy horror on a found footage format. But it was. Do you know what I thought? Well, it was done fairly well. Yeah, the guy's like vlogging. He's like doing this kind of like he's one of his challenges. He's doing like a sort of challenge, and he's got like a YouTube channel. He's spend the night in a haunted house sort of thing. Yeah, and of course all this stuff happens, and there's some funny scenes in it, which I thought quite worked. Yeah, when I reviewed it, I thought, you know what, I would have been interested to see. I enjoyed it for the comedy because I thought it worked, but at the same time, it deflated some of the kind of the scares. Yeah, that's it. Do you know what I mean? It would have been a genuinely scary film if they dialed back on the comedy, which I think it was. It's like I think it worked as a horror comedy. It was actually quite fun, and you liked the character. Yeah, but it wasn't as scary because of it. So it depends on what you want from it. Clearly, this was the film he wanted to make. Yeah, that's fine. I think it worked. I think it did pretty well. But it's still a little bit scary, but I think it would have been genuinely scary. Yeah, that's it. That was great. It's great haunted house, Yeah, pretty good kind of makeup on these kind of ghosts and things. Yeah, but it just didn't have the quite enough bite because obviously they have that kind of horror. Just fell short, basically. Yeah, that's it. Yeah, they can overdo it sometimes with that, comedic elements. I tell you the movie. I haven't watched it for a couple of years, but I tell you the movie that I did find disturbing. I don't know if you've seen it. There's been two versions. There's been a German version and there's been an American version. Funny Games. Have you seen that one? No, I haven't. I am aware of them, but I haven't seen. That's quite disturbing. I won't tell you what happens at the end. That's quite disturbing. But a bit like Eden Lake, these two young yobs and that
sort of like coming to the house and that saying like, can we borrow an egg and that, you know, and you keep coming back all the time and that, you know, very dark movie. It was quite sad as well.
So The Strangers in a way, I suppose, isn't it? But
The Strangers, Home Invasion, I've got The Strangers on Blu-ray. Yeah, I like that one.
I haven't seen the second one, but I really like the first one. I'll tell you a funny story. I saw the original Strangers in the cinema, right?
Yeah.
And, I had those. Do you know what I mean by the ice blasts? They're like kind of like slushies sort of thing, like, you know, the sort of the. I had one of these ice blast things, and I was seeing this film.
Yeah.
And I had this, like, I got a large one, and it was like this tube thing with like a kind of, it looked like a bomb, to be honest. Anyway, and I was holding it, and I dropped it. And this is while the film was on.
Oh,
and
God.
It landed like dead flat, and like a huge lump of ice. Like, this is in the middle of a horror film.
Oh,
this
God.
huge, like, globule of like slushy, flung out and went into the girl in front of me. And she was like,
oh my God. Oh, she was like the shock of her life.
Oh, like, my God, I'm so sorry.
Big long icy things,
Like, you think I was chucking at her.
Oh, God. Oh, jump like that. Oh, my God. That's like that. You know what that reminds me of there? You know, that director, William Castle, he had all these gimmicks, didn't he? Yeah.
Like that.
Like the thing, like he put something in the chair and he go, oh, what was that? You know, the girls would jump up. Someone touched me bum.
They had like a Disney. They had like I went to Disneyland once, and they had like it was a long time ago. And they had like an experience where they had all this sort of stuff, and I think it was Honey, I Shrunk the Kids. And they had all this kind of like sprayed you with water and all this kind of stuff. It's quite fun.
Yeah, that's it.
Legionnaires' disease, but you know, whatever. But
as I say, reminiscence of William Castle, as I say, you know, that's like watching a movie and someone putting the hand on the shoulder like that. Oh, that's another trope as well. It's done time and time again in horror movies when somebody comes behind him and he just put their hand on the shoulder instead of saying it's me. Now, who does that in real life? Just comes back, go hand on the shoulder like that. You know, you just say it's me to let the person know you were there.
Whatever, when you're walking up.
It's me. It's me. Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
Unless you're deliberately trying to scare them.
Exactly. Yeah. But well, we'll wind up at 10 then, Leo. I really enjoyed it. Yeah. So
not go through the rest of these comments quick, or
might as well. Yeah. Get through a couple more. Yeah. You get that engrossed in talking about horror movies. Sometimes you forget the comments.
I won't go off on tangents anymore.
That's it. Yeah, I've enjoyed it anyway. You can always come on again sometime in the future. Definitely. Right. Okay, that's gone a bit dark, that part. Oh yeah, it's come on now. Yeah, am I dead? Yes. Yeah, Slack. He had that creepy look and stupid smile all the time. Guy I knew looked like him. Nuss didn't smile much at all. All right then, guys. So I'm going to round her off here soon. So if you want to get some questions in, me and Leo will be happy to go through them and answer anything in that. You know, so ask us anything in that within reason. So I've enjoyed it. Yeah. So I'll just whiz through now and see what we've got. Chestnut F7, Jeff, good night. Brian Gilson to Jeff Joffe, good night.
Good night.
It sounds like the Waltons, this, doesn't it? Good night, Grandma. Good night, Jim Bob. Dr. Impossible, another Hammer film I occasionally watch is Hysteria, made by MGM and directed by Freddie Francis. Very enjoyable thriller horror in the tradition of Hitchcock. I don't think I've seen Hysteria. Have you, Leo?
No.
I haven't seen that one. It's good. There is a good couple of Hammer psychological movies. That's a good one. Paranoid, starring Oliver Reed. That's a good one. Am I Dead? Yes. Yeah, Final Girls are so goddamn boring after like nearly 50 years. I'd like to see more films where it's a group of folk in danger. And you don't know who's going to survive. Yeah.
So because you in a ensemble piece, you don't quite know who's going to live. Well, so you clearly focus on one person. That's the person.
Yeah. Zami, have any of you guys seen Water Power? No, 1977. It's a brutal 70s treble X, well worth a watch. Jamie Gillis plays a maniac. Haven't seen it. Have you, Leo?
No.
Don't know that one. Yeah. The Dr. Impossible says, I still get the chills from listening to Harry Suitman's TV score to Salem's Lot. I was lucky to get that complete score when it came out as a limited edition soundtrack. Very unnerving, right? Dr. Impossible again. Did either of you see the French werewolf film called Brotherhood of the Wolf?
I have. Saw it at the cinema, based on a true story as well.
Is it? Yeah.
Yeah.
It's worth watching. Yeah.
It was a true. I think it was in like 18th century or 17th century France. And
Yeah.
there's this massive killings in the woods, and I won't spoil it for you, but yeah, it was bait, and a lot of people thought it was werewolf.
Oh, right.
And it's very good. It's a very good movie. It's French, so it's obviously
Yeah.
But it's got a guy called Mark Dacascos. If you like martial art films, it's got Mark Dacascos in it. Great martial artist. He's in that.
Oh, I'll have to watch out for that one.
Not quite a werewolf film, but like Werewolf of Jason, I would say.
Yeah. I still think it's highly underrated and extremely atmospheric, Rice. Right. I was talking about the Bigfoot that fought Steve Austin in a tunnel in the $6 Million Man. Oh, I remember him well. I was a kid in the 70s and that Bigfoot's face and eyes, it scared the crap out of me, lol. The $6 Million Man, Steve Austin.
I don't remember that.
The memories are floating back now. Yeah, he's a bionic man. You don't
I remember the show, but I don't remember him fighting a Bigfoot, to be honest.
I don't remember that. Doctor says, what's the most atmospheric film score to a horror film? A score that made you feel very uneasy? Well, I think Halloween's a good score. John Carpenter.
Let's say John Carpenter, pretty much, if he does a score, it's going to be pretty good.
Yeah. You got The Exorcist, Tubular Bells. That was like more of it. Do you know what? That always used to come on when that Exorcist film first came out. That always used to come on. We used to have our radio on sometimes till about 2:00 in the morning, and that would come on in the middle of the night. The Tubular Bells song. Always played it. Do you ever find that?
It was good. I think it was released as a single, wasn't it? That So it's probably in the charts. I like to say John Carpenter. I really like the Fright Night soundtrack. Well, I wouldn't say it's necessarily spooky.
No. I like the Psycho theme as well. That's good. Very dramatic. Very dramatic. Bernard Herrmann.
Yeah.
The first two Wolf Creek films had male protagonists in them, but I think that's because in real life there was a young man from the UK that escaped the Aussie killer, Ivan Millat, a guy called Paul Onions. That was based on a true story, that Wolf Creek. Loosely based on a true story. Yeah. I'll just answer a couple more. Yeah, I like Wolf Creek, the two. I wasn't too keen on the series, to be honest with you.
I've not seen any of them. No. I've seen, John Jarrett and lots of other films.
Yeah,
but, not those ones.
Yeah, Slack saying The Ghoul, Peter Cushing, and John Hurt. Yeah, it's a good film. It's about time they released that on Blu-ray. Good one, that.
Yeah, that is a good one.
Am I dead? Yes. Who's the actor? Julian Sands again. I just seen online. He's been confirmed dead. Was he a horror actor? Don't know.
He was in Warlock. He's probably his most. He was in. I actually reviewed. I've got a screener for his last film, which is called The Ghosts of Monday.
Yeah. All right.
He did the Warlock, the two Warlock films. There's three Warlock films. He did two of them. There's an Arachnophobia. He was in a Stephen King adaptation, Rose Red, which was a TV miniseries.
Yeah.
He's been in quite a lot of horror, like blonde English guy, kind of like longish sort of blonde hair.
Yeah,
I've heard they confirmed. I know they found a body. They confirmed. That's a shame.
Yeah, I've heard of the Warlock movies, but I haven't actually seen any of them.
The first one, it's really good. It's a little bit different because you've got like, let's say Warlock rather than the witch. It's good fun.
Yeah. We just got a couple more and then we'll close for the night. Richard Brown, Julian Sands was in Warlock, Naked Lunch, Boxing Helena. I've heard of both of those other two films, but I haven't actually seen them. Have you, Leo, seen those last two?
I think I've seen both of them, to be honest. Naked Lunch, Cronenberg film, wasn't it? And then Boxing Helena is like that with a girl from Twin Peaks. And Bill Paxton, one of my favourites.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. What about the Gorgon? She scared me as a kid. She scared me as a kid when I first saw her, yeah. Yeah, the Hammer movie, the Gorgon. Let's get a couple more and then we'll close for the night. Brian Gilson, I had heard they had found the body near where he went missing, but they hadn't confirmed this was him. Yet really sad news. He was an amazing actor. Rest in peace. All right.
He went hiking in California, and this was back in January.
Yeah. All right. Yeah, I just Googled him. He was in The Killing Fields, Arachnophobia. Oh, yeah, the one with the spiders. Ocean's 13 too. Said he's been missing for 5 months. Went out hiking in January. Now they've just found his remains. Oh my God.
Not much less of that, I expect.
Ooh. Yeah. Richard's saying, I forgot about arachnophobia. Yeah, the spiders. Have you seen that one, Leo? Arachnophobia.
Yeah, that's a decent film. It's like a PG or something, isn't it? But it's actually quite effective.
And the spiders, yeah. 80s horror fan. Thanks, guys. Amazing chat. Oh, yeah. Yeah, cheers, yeah. Glad you enjoyed it. 80s horror fan. Your channel is amazing, Alan. Great stuff. Thanks for your time. Thank you very much. Nice compliments, yeah. And thanks to Leo for appearing tonight. I really enjoyed it. And I'll leave Leo's, yeah, really enjoyed it. Yeah, I'll leave Leo's link down below, guys. So go along and give him a sub. He's got a great channel, fantastic reviewer. And yeah, I've really enjoyed it tonight. All right, then. I'll love you and leave us all now. And thanks again, Leo, for coming on.
Thanks for inviting me, Alan. And happy to do it again sometime.
Yeah, I'd like to have you back again at a future date. I've really enjoyed it. And don't worry about waffling. You know, when it comes to horror and movies, you can waffle till the cows come home. I just love talking about movies. I really do. I really enjoyed it. So if you go Blu-ray hunting, the DVD hunting, they always say it. I hope you manage to pick up some bargains. But you'll be reviewing, won't you? You'll be doing your reviewing.
I review most of them. I've got a few in the pile like you, ready to kind of like watch through and stuff.
Yeah. Oh well. Yeah, I've enjoyed it tonight. Yeah. Thanks very much. Yeah. And
thanks to everyone. Thanks to all your viewers as well for putting up with my rambling.
No, I've enjoyed every minute. It's been a real pleasure having you on and that. And I hope to have you on, again sometime in the future. Maybe get a couple more guests in as well every now and then, and that, have a really big discussion and that. Or as I say, doing what we're doing now. Like, it just depends on who's available and that, because some people, they have, like yourself, you couldn't make it on the Thursday. So yeah, I'm quite happy. I'm quite flexible actually. If you want to make it a Tuesday or a Friday, just give me a bell. Yeah. Yeah, so I've really enjoyed it. Yeah, and as I say, I'll leave a link down below to Leo's channel, and go along, give him a sub. He's got a great channel. Yeah. All right, then I'm going to wind it down now. So thanks again, Leo. I've enjoyed it.
Then. And like Alan.
Yeah. Good night. Yeah. Yeah. I'll be back again, same time, same place. Well, it'll be Thursday next week with my usual solo until I start having more guests on. Okay, guys, take care. Have a nice weekend. Bye. And thanks again, Leo. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.